Can you catch? This is left-handed, by the way. So it's probably not going to be good. It's awkward.
I can pass it too.
Yeah!
There we go.
Got him.
Okay. I'm a pure righty. All right. You ready? Ready.
Let's get started.
I like our new intro, man. Our intro's sick.
You like it? I like it.
Yeah, I like it a lot. So, we're going to go ahead and start in prayer. We got a cool guest today, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from him. I'm kind of excited because I thought that we'd never have a cop on the show. I mean, our cops are really slacking. They don't invite their guys. All we have is firemen on here, and it is what it is. But
most of the time when I invite a cop or whoever, they bail on me last second, and you guys think I don't have any friends.
Well, I'm going to tell you something else. I'm really glad that we have a cop because when we do have police on here or any kind of like law enforcement, Jacob talks a lot more.
Well, in your defense too, you've asked me for like the past since y'all started, because I think I was still involved when y'all started it. And
Are you one of the ones that bailed?
From
No,
what?
no,
I never bailed on.
No, in Higgins' defense, it was when we were. I think one time something did come up and you had to bail, but then another time was when we were trying to schedule 2 episodes in one night.
Oh,
I think I was kind of on standby.
It went too long.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Hey man,
that.
we're not done yet with this one. We're talking a lot." He's like,
yeah.
I'm just gonna go to bed, dude.
I think I had to work the next day, so I was like, oh no.
I do remember that, and I don't blame you one bit because I think we were here till like 11 o'clock.
Bruh.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I gotta sleep.
That's when I was lieutenant, and I was like, it's all right. I'll just take a nap after breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but we're gonna start it off in some prayer, and then we'll dive right in. So, dear Lord, thank you so much for this day and the blessings you've given to us so far, Lord. Just everything that you bless us with in general is just amazing. I just pray that we have a good night and a good session. Get to know about Higgins and his story and his experience that he's gone through, and also getting experience that he's had with you, Lord. We just pray that you'll give us the right words to say and say something that will help benefit somebody or help somebody in any kind of struggle or praise or any kind of future relief or anything in general, Lord. We just thank you so much for this opportunity and living in a great country that we get to do things like this and just enjoy each other's company also and what we do as first responders. And Lord, we give you all the glory. And again, we just love you so much in Jesus' name. Amen. So last couple episodes have been on Samuel, and we pre-recorded those, and as you can tell if you listen to them. And the first one, we had some hiccups with sound quality and all that kind of stuff. If you listened to it, you would have heard.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're not professionals, and we don't have any money. We actually spend a lot of our money on this. And so it's kind of hard to, we have, certain times it's like this. But I tell people all the time, like, man, from where we came from is incredible. Mm-hmm. Like, I just love expressing to people how, like, the first couple ones were, where we would, like, lean in. Because I listened to my episode, and I think it was your episode. Because I like going back and listening to the difference. And I was like, oh, I am an idiot. I keep bumping that stupid table. It's just so annoying. And
yeah, after that one, I sent out a text. I was like, no thumping the table.
Yeah. But see, what we would have to do is we'd have to, like, lean in, talk, and then go back out, and whoever was talking, and, there's no visual or anything like that. And then like, Matt coming up and dude, Matt like allowing us to use this place and studio is absolutely incredible. Awesome. And so
shout out to Matt Bruner.
Absolutely. And I wish we could do more for the guy. Like, I offered to fill his fridge and he never either texts me back or he's like, yeah, we just like anything, man. And I'm like, dude, this is the number one argument that couples have, married couples. Like, what do we eat? What do we drink? And so it's like, okay. But it's so blessed and so thankful for it. Then before that, the episode before the Samuel episodes, we had King on. And for me, that was huge because he's been such a motivating person to me and mentor. And I hate seeing him go through this. Right now, he's going through. He's back in the hospital again. Is he
back now?
What?
He's back in the hospital again.
Yeah, he had. I'm pretty sure he got pneumonia again. And so I got to reach out to Shannon and see how he's doing. But so he's he's fighting the good fight, man. Yeah. And that's what we have to do, whether it's physical sickness, mental sickness. Every night we pray. Me and the girls pray for our friends and family and people in our lives. But man, I can't tell you, and it might come up in the show, but man, recently the Lord, man, dude, he's working, man. Like there's some things that are happening at my company and outside the company and certain things, and I want to give privacy to certain people, but like just the fact that like certain things are happening is like, it's just it's incredible, and I really wish that like. That's why we do this. That's why we're here. That's why we do this. We do this so that we can talk about things that a lot of first responders don't want to do. Yeah. They don't like talking about their feelings, and it's being unconditional and being, honestly, just being vulnerable. We talked about a little bit of that one, King. But man, I tell people all the time, I wish people who don't believe in Christ or don't believe in anything. I just wish for 5 minutes that they could feel the fullness that I have in my life. Like, what are you doing? You reading my phone?
What's
I like that.
Okay. Rude. So Jacob had to use my phone because we had to use his to record, and it locked out, and he's like, I don't know what this is. So but anyway, I'm gonna shift it over to Jacob and let him introduce who we have tonight.
You want to do the verse first? No,
we'll do another one.
Okay.
It's on my phone, so
You want me to read it?
No, it's all right.
You sure?
No, I'll save it for next time.
I'll pull it up real quick.
It'd be complicated to tell you where it's at. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah, we'll do it next time.
Next time.
It's all good. We'll do 2 of them.
All right. So we already talked a little bit about him, but Alex Higgins, is he's with Monroe PD. Been in law enforcement total for like 5 years. Is that right?
5 years. 5 years.
Right.
Yep.
Awesome, dude.
All right.
Yeah, we're gonna let you just dive in and share a little bit of your story, your testimony. I met Higgins several years ago, back when my father-in-law was the youth pastor at Church at the Grove. Back when he was young enough. Pat, I'm sorry, you're old now. They don't want you to do the things you want to do anymore.
Does Pat think he's young?
I don't know.
Pat, bro.
Maybe.
Pat, come on, man.
Trick.
Come on.
But anyway,
I'm old. That makes you ancient.
So my wife and I, when Pat was leading the youth group, we stepped in as volunteers to help out with the youth and be like small group leaders and stuff. And that was the first time I met Alex. I came in off of my jail shift and went straight to youth group and walked in that night, and he was up on stage leading worship.
Was that at the?
I guess not stage, but it was in
Was
the
that at
front
the-
of the room.
Which building?
Yeah,
were we
it
in?
was the annex.
right
Yeah.
there by Papa John's.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Good times.
But
I
yeah,
didn't know.
that
So
was,
you went to the Grove?
I did.
Yeah.
All the way from really like middle school all the way. Middle school all the way through high school. Yeah,
Cool.
I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, he's not only an awesome officer, he's an incredible musician. So
I appreciate that.
Oh.
even at a
How much are
young
guitar
age,
lessons?
dude, I was impressed.
Yeah, done all that, man.
But anyway, yeah, go ahead and get into your story, brother.
Yeah, like I said, my name is Alex Higgins. I've been in law enforcement for about 5 years. I've been married since 2021. Have a daughter who's about to turn 1 year old because I'm a new dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Combating law enforcement and fatherhood is a battle like no other. But
yeah.
Absolutely.
I say it's a battle. It's a joy. And she's been the biggest blessing probably that I could even imagine. Wouldn't trade her for anything. But anyway, yeah. So I've been in law enforcement about 5 years. Before I was in law enforcement, I was a worship leader all through. Well, I was pretty much all through like middle school and high school. The first time I sang in front of anybody, I actually auditioned for The Sound of Music my freshman year of high school.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was fun. So I sang harmony with my sister in Kids Grove when we were at Walnut Grove High School. That's when
Yeah.
I first started singing because my dad promised me he would get me a dirt bike if I sang 4 times with my sister. And he got me a dirt bike. He came
There
through.
you
So that was my motivation to sing with her. I had a little
That's cool.
TTR 125 that was a great little dirt bike. Anyway, that's what got me into singing. But yeah, my whole family's been really my mom's side, the music side. Me and my sister got that. We got that. My dad is not a musician whatsoever at all. But no, so I've led worship. I led worship all the way through, and I still do. But that was my main thing that I did for golly, like I said, middle school all the way through high school. Led worship for Church of the Grove students when I was in high school. Just did it because I love doing it. And then that transitioned to, I actually kind of stepped away for a little bit because I think we started going to Redeeming Grace in Loganville with Chris Dill. You know Chris Dills?
Yeah.
Chris Dills, and we did that for a while, and then ended up getting a job on staff at First Baptist Loganville. Did that, and then for a couple of years, and then eventually just realized I needed to start, financially providing for a family and things like that, and ready to do that, and that wasn't facilitated there, and that's just what it was. It was at the time that I needed to do something different, and started doing surveyed land for a while. That was a blast. Yeah, no, it was a really good job. It really was. It was kind of an in between, and then from there, that's actually when I stepped into law enforcement. So full circle to
Nice.
the jail at Walton County. Yeah, that's where I started there. But yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yep.
What would you say, or, I mean, how did you get into the faith? Like,
So
was that early on, or?
yeah, so no, it was. I mean, very early on. My mom and dad are both. I mean, I grew up in a Christian home.
Yeah.
And I know that can sound cliche.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people I think would claim they grew up in a Christian home, but I truly.
We're in the Bible Belt, baby.
That's what I'm saying. We're in the middle of the buckle.
Yeah.
But no, I said when I say that, I don't say that loosely. I say that in wholeheartedness of like the belief in the Holy Spirit and Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I was also, I forgot to mention too, I was homeschooled 1st through 12th grade, and I truly do believe I owe who I am to obviously the Lord, but the fact that because I have a very, very addictive personality and a very what's the word? I guess I've grown out of it, since I've, gotten older, but the kind of personality that would very easily do what a lot of other people do.
Yeah.
And I truly do feel like I am who I am because I was homeschooled. Wasn't sheltered, but was able to experience things, but I feel like that's kind of what shaped me into who I am, truly. But yeah, no, I was 5 years old, and every night my mom would come in my room and tuck me in, and we would pray. And when I was 5, that's when she asked me if I wanted Jesus to come into my heart. And as a 5-year-old, that's one of those things where you can't fully wrap your brain around what that means. But obviously, I'm like, yeah, like I want Jesus to live in my heart. Like, yeah, like that sounds awesome. But when I got baptized when I was 13 at the Grove by Austin Prince. I still have a Bible that my parents gave me that has the date that I was baptized on it. I kind of pinpoint that when I was 13 is when I realized like I really need to make Jesus the Lord of my life. Like I need to make him, because that's when obviously I'm 13, getting, middle school, going, getting older, and, life kind of starts making sense. And the reality sets in of how real temptation is and real just the world is just a dark place. And that's just kind of where I realized that I need to be set apart. And so I was 5 years old when I would say I accepted Jesus as my Lord and Savior. But I would say about when I was 13, that's really when I was like conscious of like, this needs to be like this needs to be my life. This needs to be
that assurance kind of like
yeah,
a turning point.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I went through a similar stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Well, so you were homeschooled. Did your mom do most of that?
Yeah. So,
and what'd your dad do?
So my dad has been a truck driver since I was born. So he's done that forever. Just like a Monday through Friday. I mean, he's early hours, getting up early in the morning. Mm-hmm. And he actually he's recently gone to a new company. He gets home a little bit earlier. But anyway, so yeah, my mom, honestly, there came a point where me and my sister were kind of able to do our own thing because we just knew what we needed to get done. But yeah, she would literally make our schedule. Like we would have a curriculum we'd follow, and I mean, we would do it, all grammar, math, language arts, history, everything. We'd have all of that. We would do it, have a Monday through Friday schedule. And obviously she was quote unquote our teacher, which was cool. But like I said, there was a curriculum we followed, and then that transitioned into something called Summit Academy, which is, I'm sure you've heard of Summit Academy.
Kelsey's the admin now.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
When I coached baseball, I had a couple kids who actually went there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like Xander Threlkill.
Yes. Yeah. I know him. My sister taught him piano. Pretty sure. I believe that. Yeah. And then his mom was, I believe, one of my teachers for a class that I took. I don't know what class it was.
His dad was a principal at
I was just going to say, you said
Walnut Grove.
Yeah. Small world.
Yeah.
Old Tommy.
I was
shout out.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Yeah.
I missed that guy.
He's great.
He's over at where's he at now?
It's kind of like a
school in Bethlehem, maybe?
Yeah, but I don't remember what it's called.
Anyway, yeah.
He's a good dude.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I did Summit Academy for basically like when Jill Butcher kicked it off. Like that was kind of when I started there in elementary school, that was like our school. I mean, you go once a week, and then you've got your homework and stuff. And my mom still teaches and does that, but she was a teacher there from when I started, and my sister started all the way to when we graduated. And now she still does it. So, awesome. Yeah, that was it. And I had a lot of friends. That was the main question people would ask me in high school. Because I worked at Kroger when I was 15. I worked at Scoops right here in Monroe. And the biggest thing people would ask me, they're like, you're so normal, like you're homeschooled. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't really know what to, I mean, I understand like, the stereotype of that. I get it. But no, they were honestly shocked. A lot of people were shocked because I mean, I'm just, I guess, quote unquote, a normal person. I don't know, but that was that, and asking me if I've had friends and things like that. And truthfully, I probably had more friends than a lot of people because I mean, I was friends with people from Walnut Grove, Loganville, LCA. I mean, everywhere, Monroe area. Like I had a lot of good friends at many different places, George Walton, like all that. Especially a lot from youth group too. Yeah, played soccer at Blue Springs. But yeah, no, it was just so to jump back. But yeah, being homeschooled, like, it protected me from a lot of things. I felt like I probably could have got into pretty deep. There, I've made my fair share of very, very poor decisions even as a homeschooled kid. But I do feel like my parents, especially my mom, did a really good job of, obviously raising us, to walk out our faith and to recognize good and evil and to recognize what the right things to do, based off what Scripture says and based off of just what's morally correct. And obviously falling short of that often. I said, I mean, I can count on my fingers just mistakes. I mean, I know we've all done it, but it's just I just truly do feel like the homeschooled side of things really helped me to grow into who I am now.
Yeah.
Truly. So, but yeah.
Well, I think it probably gave you a good foundation of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and when you go to homeschool, it's totally different. But then on the other hand, homeschool is way different than it was when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So when I was growing up, the kids were awkward.
No, and don't get me wrong. Like I said, I mean, this isn't a shot at anybody, but there's some unique personalities out there.
Yeah.
Can't figure out what to put down, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
But do you think some of that could have been part of the reason why you say you struggle with being influenced?
Yeah, as far as what do you mean?
Just not being around a lot of people, and then when you are around a lot of people, you want to kind of
be a part. Yeah, I do feel like there was an element of that. I feel like I not struggle, but I have a desire, which we all do, but I feel like I do have a desire to be liked. I want people to want people to like me, and I feel like a lot of people do. But I feel like maybe, because, and that's a good point. Because I didn't have the same, I guess, I don't know, atmosphere I was more so drawn to things that maybe I didn't have so much access to, But yeah, I do feel like that's a good way to look at it.
Well, I'll let you know from an old guy's point of view. The older you get, the less you care.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah, I could give a rip about what anybody thinks.
Yeah.
Except my wife.
Yeah.
I want my wife to like yours because she's super hot.
Yeah. I can agree with that. Not for you, but I've never met your wife.
You and I might have to tussle afterwards.
I've never met you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh, man.
That's cool. So, you were worship leader, worked for the church.
Yeah.
Loganville First Baptist, which I know several people that go there.
Yeah.
And so,
you should come to Church at the Grove. It's better. I'm just.
I've been thinking about leaving the Church of Grove to go to.
They need to put a jersey with my name on the wall. I've done so many years there.
But what how'd you get into law enforcement? What made you?
What kind of drew me there?
Yeah.
So when I came out of high school, I was still at that point where I just had no idea what I wanted to do. There was thoughts of going into audio engineering, because I love, like I said, I'm a music guy, so I like music stuff. There was a minute where I was gonna try to pursue music stuff. That's kind of a hard career to get into, depending on how you go about it. But I just really didn't know kind of what I wanted to do. And I thought about going to the military. I'm not the kind, I was never the kind of person that was confrontational. Never that kind of person at all. I'd always had in this very, very far back spot in my mind, being a cop would be kind of cool, but I never really I just kind of dismissed the thought. It's one of those things where what I say a lot is it's one of those things where until you actually do, you almost don't believe that you could do it, But no, like I said, it was one of those things where I didn't really. I went to college for a little bit while I was on staff at First Baptist. I went to Troop McConnell online. I was actually going to play soccer for them. Just ended up not working. I made their team, the whole shebang, whatever. But ended up just not going there. I just didn't want to move away. I just wanted to stay home and be at home around my people. And that transitioned to me going to college on New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary. It's a mouthful. But I did that for a little bit. And I just didn't want to. School just wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
I'm not more power to anybody who wants to do schoolwork and whatever. I'm potentially get my associate's degree at some point. But I really just came down to it. I was like, I need to provide. So that's why I kind of got that in-between job surveying. And then I just started talking to Tori, who's my wife now, my girlfriend at the time. And then my parents, I still lived at home. And my dad was a cop for Gwinnett in the 90s. And yeah, he I don't know what he told me. He had some job as he was doing he was he transported inmates and stuff. I don't know if I don't believe he did like patrol. I'm not sure he probably would have had to do an element of it because you know, to get where he was at. But obviously it was different back then. But
He said the 90s, like that's way back in the day. I was like, wait a minute,
I say 90. It was probably it was like
I was like, wait, his
back in
whole
the
life
90s.
his dad drove a truck. Wait a second. Oh, never
prior
mind.
to that,
Yeah, this is when I was a kid.
I was born in the 90s. So
I was born in the 90s too. I was 98,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm still, you know, I could still claim the 90s, I guess.
Oh, my
Not really. I didn't realize I was a person until like 2004, 5. But you know, that's when your brain starts working as a child. But no,
Y'all were born during NSYNC, and I was born during Black Sabbath. So.
But
91, that was early 90s.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's NWA, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg.
D-O-double-G.
Yeah, baby.
see, I think is like I still like I love that music still. Like that's like
Hey.
I still listen to that stuff.
Compared to what's out now, man, jeez. How could you not?
Might as well, for real.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, I like I said, my dad was a cop like for a while, and just kind of I don't remember what exactly like sparked in my mind, but it was just kind of like I want to do something I knew I was gonna probably enjoy, and obviously I don't have a degree. I didn't plan on going to school. I did not want to do surveying just because like it was an in between job. It really paid really well, but it was just not. It's a lot of grunt work.
Yeah.
You know, really, really good, steady job. And that was actually kind of an in-between. That was kind of when COVID was a big deal. And, like, the guy I worked for, he was really, really generous and offered me the job like that. It was cool. It was a family friend of ours. But, so, yeah, I transitioned from all of that and, like, was like, I'm just going to try this. And I didn't know how it all worked at first. Like, I didn't know, you know, if I was going to be able just to go straight to, because obviously when you think of police, you think, or being a cop, you think of driving the cop car and doing all the stuff, you know, patrol does and all that. But I didn't realize that when I applied that, like if you do like a sheriff's office, that they would like try to like let you work in the jail first, and then that they would pay your way through the academy and stuff like that. You mean the contract? I didn't know any of that. So when I applied, I think I applied like for the patrol position. And then I got the call, and they were like, "Hey, like, are you?" I forget the thing they asked, like, "Are you certified?" I was like, "I don't even know what that means." Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just, you know, I'm interested in being in law enforcement. And they're like, "Oh, well, if you aren't, you'll have to start in the jail." And I was like, "Oh shoot!" Like, I don't know if I want to know about all that. Like, I don't know if I want to do, you know, that's a lot, or I guess I assumed it wasn't going to be a lot. And something that I thought about and prayed about because I was just like,
I don't know if you remember this or not, but you actually called me.
did I really?
And
I did.
and
I
we
do remember
talked
that.
about it,
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
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 Wrong person.
Scotty's like, you should have called me.
Yeah.
Gone to the fire service.
Yeah, I could have told you to come to something
I could have
way
steered you
better.
the right way.
I mean, y'all already have the facial hair for the fire service.
That's right.
I don't know what y'all doing to be a police
This is
officers.
all I can grow. So, I mean, yeah, I would have fit in great.
SO got that beard policy, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Now they do.
Well,
dude, I was in the Sally Port at the jail the other day and I saw a civil unit with a beard and I was like, I almost did I don't know his name. When he got out, I was like, well, wait a minute. I can't remember his name. But it was funny because I forgot y'all had the beard policy and I was like, huh. And then I saw Stallard with a beard.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, and he looks good with a beard. Shout out
See,
Stallard if you watch this. You
There
look
you
good,
go,
man. Yeah. But no, anyway, yeah, so just I got that phone call about you know, working in the jail, and I wanted to work for Walton County just because that's where I've lived. Like, I just thought, like, man, it'd be so cool to work. A lot of people probably don't agree with that. I really do like working where I live.
has its pros and cons.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of folks that, especially where I'm at now, that I've seen that I've probably really don't want to see, just because of the relationships or the things that I've seen them do, especially working in the jail. And how they are, but there's a lot of people that I've seen, and I can truly attest that because of the report that's what we were talking about earlier, like living in Monroe, it's a small town, so you see a lot of people that you know, and yeah, there's a lot of people that I see, and like because of the report that I had with them in the jail, like there's a lot of situations that I've been in where I feel like they've gone a lot better because they know that I wasn't just gonna treat them like, you know, just a jerk, whatever. Just because I can, just because I'm wearing the badge, which a lot of people will do. But you know, just to come back to what I was saying, yeah, I got that call and prayed about it a lot because I was like I said, I just didn't know what the jail was going to look like. I was like, I don't know if I'm cut out for that. And then, but ended up doing it. And Corey Bergen, shout out to Corey Bergen if you watch this too. He was my training officer, and he taught me how to be a jail officer and how to be a cop in the jail at least. And from there, like I said, I mean, there was a lot that I was genuinely fearful for a long time in there, just because like I've never been a big like a big guy, like just my body type. I've never been a big dude. Finally at that point where I can maintain body weight, and when I eat and work out, and it kind of stays on. But like I was probably 160 pounds, like just not a big dude going in there.
I know some guys at the gym that could help you out with that.
Yeah. No.
I do.
See, now it's good though. I'm like 190, like keeping weight on. We're good. I'm like right where I want to be. But no, it was like
you're
I said,
also
it was
young.
I know.
Dude, you're what, like 20, 21, 21?
26.
No. Like when you got into
started,
now.
Yeah, I'm like, that's kind of intimidating.
Yeah, no, it was, like I said, I mean, going in, like, it was just, there was dudes in there that were just, they're big dudes. And like, I mean, I'm 100% aware that I am not a big person. So I was like, I really had to learn how to use my words a lot better. Like, I was always like, I'm a relatable person. Like, I can talk to people, but it was like, I don't know. It's just a different world, man. Like, it's a very
word judo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean,
grab balls.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my daughters.
Yeah.
Freaking kick them right where it counts.
Dude, hey.
It doesn't matter how big they are.
No, that's what like big dudes like. We used to like. I forget. It may have been. I don't know. It may have been Mouton that told me. He was like, dude, the bigger dudes like just freaking go for the knees, go below the waist.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you got to do because like I'm not gonna. And I mean, I had obviously I tased a few people, sprayed a few people, stuff like that. But I never truly like. And I tell people this too, like I never, like some people don't believe, they're like, are you serious? And I'm like, I mean, yeah. But I've truly never been in like a knockdown, drag out, like bloody brawl with anybody. I mean, like, yeah, knock on wood. I mean, I work freaking all whole weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so we'll see what happens. But,
you just brought it on yourself,
yeah,
buddy.
yeah. And like now, like I said, I'm in a different mindset where like I feel like I would be prepared to. There's always gonna be someone out there's better than you. Whatever you've got, it doesn't matter. But like, I feel like I can handle myself. But like, I feel like I owe that just because I knew how to talk to people and didn't treat the inmates that were in there like trash. Like that's a lot of people go in there. Said no, never gonna name drop or nothing. But there's a lot of people that they would be in there and like just would incite just crud. And I'm like, and the people who would like me who would make an effort to actually. There's an element of respect you have to have because they are still people. Doesn't matter what they've done.
Absolutely.
You obviously have
still
to make
people. You got to treat them like people.
Exactly. And like I said, there was a lot of people who didn't understand that. And I just feel like, and the inmates despise those people, and those are the ones that they really wanted to hurt.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you would have to go in there and clean up, some mess that they'd made. And there's a lot of things that, like. Somebody would ask like, a certain person to do something like, hey, I need you to do this. And they're like, no, I ain't doing that. And I walk in and say, hey man, like, let's do this. And he's like, all right. And it's just like, they just don't like those people, and
respect, got to give respect.
Exactly. Like,
yeah,
so
but you got that from your upbringing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of Christ.
Yep.
So like, if you're brought up in the word,
yeah,
obviously there's people going to make you mad.
Yep.
But your heart in general, it's compassionate.
Yes.
Like you want to find the best out of other people. And the cops, no offense, well, I don't really care about anybody except for this room, and I know you aren't just people, but the cops that are like that, they're small inside.
Yep.
So they have complexes. And unfortunately, those cops make all the cops look bad.
Yep.
So like, those people, I'd like to know, like, I always wonder when I see a police officer, because I was several times had bad encounters with police officers. I always wondered, I was like, I wonder what their faith, their walk is, their faith. and I'm about 100% sure that they either have no self-esteem, a lack of self-esteem, or there's some kind of complex that is affecting them.
Yeah.
Because most of the cops I know that are like that, absolutely they have that.
Yeah.
And that's just something my dad, because you don't know this, but my dad was a police officer in City Atlanta for like 35 years.
Wow.
So
That's cool.
So I learned a lot of that from him, especially in, like, I was beat up by a Loganville cop.
Really?
So I kind of know, like, I've had some bad encounters, which ironically, my dad's a cop, you know, and then I had bad encounters with police officers. But anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt your story.
No. No, I said it was, and I seriously, I can't even count probably how many times that I've seriously been on a call for service, or even like in the jail too, but like seriously, when I'm walking around the cells that I was in, or seriously about to approach someone's door that I know could potentially be something dangerous, or someone could just be genuinely like really harsh towards me, and prayed and said, Lord, please remind me that my battle is not truly with this person. Like this is not it's the enemy at work. It's lack of truth, and it's lack of you in their life. And I seriously, like, I prayed that a lot, because I'm like, Lord, like, yeah, like, I'll get frustrated. Everybody gets frustrated, especially in this job. You can't not get frustrated as a first responder. I think that's part of probably the job description. But now there's times where seriously, like, I'll just stop for a minute and I'll pray, and I'm like I said, especially if I'm like coming up to a door, just something like, I'm gonna like, Lord, just remind me that my true battle is not with this person at all. Like, give me grace to understand that, like, they just don't know the truth, and it may not even be their fault. Just maybe like they just, you know, I mean, darkness in Monroe's a dark place. There's a lot of places in Walton County in general. There's a lot of places where the light of Christ is really not there. And I feel like, especially in this profession, there's not a lot of people that are willing to wear the badge and wear a uniform and still vulnerably and humbly express that they have faith in the Lord. And I don't go to every door, like, you know, freaking beating people's doors down. Be like, hey, you know, like, you know, hey, I'm a Christian, you know. But, you know, I do think that there's times when people notice a difference, and people have told me that people have asked me, they're like, why do you treat these? Why are you so nice? I'm like, I mean, I feel like I'm naturally a nice person, but I also go like, I don't like I'm set apart. I'm supposed to be different, you know, and like, I'm not just gonna be a certain way because that's what I'm supposed to do. Like, I don't know. It's just, like
that goes back to scripture.
Yeah.
So the Lord says, hate the sin, love the person.
Oh.
You know, so we're supposed to love the person,
Mm-hmm.
you know, whether or not we agree with the same morals or philosophy or beliefs, there's still a creation of Christ. Like, there's still God's creation, and we're supposed to love them, no matter how the devil or evil has manipulated them. So it's like, even in general, like, people are good people, but don't have the same, like, belief structure as scripture. You know, the world tells those people that Christians hate them. But that's not true. Like, in retrospect, it's like, I actually love those people more because I want them to feel that joy. You know, so that's what I'm saying. Like, everything you're saying is stems back from your raising and scripture and what you've learned and believed.
Yeah. Like, I just thought of a story. Like, I remember what call I was on. I think it was just like, it was like in a legal parking or something, or I don't remember. It was on East Marable Street over here. I've only told a lot of people about this. I've told some close people, but like, cause even if I do have like encounters that are super cool, like where I get to talk to somebody about Christ or pray with someone, because I mean, that happens. Like, I'll share it with certain people, but there's a time where I responded. It was like I think it was illegal parking, or it was like a suspicious vehicle, but like there was a bunch of cars parked at this like abandoned house. Like, just there was some, like, they're having some party or some get together, some like girl's birthday party or whatever. It wasn't anything crazy, but there's just a lot of cars parked in this one area. And I went out there, and there was like a group of folks that were standing there. And I was like, hey, is it these y'all's cars? What's going on? They were just kind of looking at me, not really saying a whole lot. And I was like, hey, like, I get y'all are having a thing, but like, this is not y'all's property. Like, did y'all have permission to park here? And they were like, man, I don't know. Like, whatever, bro. Like, we don't, screw you. And I'm like, okay. And this one guy walks up. I'm pretty sure his name was Freddie. That's what he said his name was. He's a black guy. He was like, hey man. He was like, man. He goes, my car's over here. He was the only one out of like 10 people that was like, dude, I'm sorry, man. I'll move my car. And I was like, you're good, man. I said, I appreciate you being cool, man. I said, I don't want to come out here and, ruin y'all's night. I said, it's just, this is just part of my job. It's not personal. I said, I got to do my part if you have permission to park here, And he was like, no, man, I get it. You're just doing your job. And I was like, cool, man, I appreciate you. And then I don't remember what sparked a conversation, but like ended up, he was telling me that he had like, I forget how many kids he said he had. He had a lot of kids, I think with some different people, and that he was like struggling financially. He was trying to get a new job. And, we just started talking, and I said, man, I don't know. I said, I literally know we've been talking for like 5 minutes, but I said, do you know Jesus Christ? And he said, I do. I said, when's the last time you talked to him? He said, it's been a while. I said, we can talk to him right now if you want to. I said, can I pray for you? And he was like, yeah. And I'm just assuming we're going to stand there, but dude, he like got close to me and he holds his hands out. And I was like, It was just cool. Like, I mean, you don't expect that. Like I said, I remember he smelled like weed. He was, you could tell he was, that was his life and stuff like that. To each their own, whatever. I wasn't worried about any of that, but like, you could just tell he was like at a really, really vulnerable, broken spot that he was in. He kind of just randomly opened up in the middle of random person's yard at like probably midnight, and it was just that was a cool moment where I feel like the Lord just gave me an opportunity to pray for somebody who needed it. And like, he seriously, like, he hugged me, and like, I'm limited on how much I do that stuff just because of, what we do and stuff. But like, it wasn't anything that I felt I wasn't in any, danger or whatever, anything like that. But, and like, he was like, man, he goes, I can't even thank you enough for that. And I was like, dude, I was like, that's what we do, man. I was like, that's what we do. But yeah, and that doesn't happen often, but there's a couple times where that's happened, and I love moments like that when the Lord, uses my career that I've chosen, or that He's allowed me to be a part of to pray over someone or just be able to encourage them. So yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, it happens. We used to happen a decent amount, especially when I was on the ambulance, because in Cherokee when I worked there. We had our own ambulances. So we would be on the ambulance here and there. And some people were on it a lot. But like, we would always take the chance. It was a group of us. I guess King called it the starting five.
The starting five.
There's more than that, but like there's a and the reason why they say it was a group because a buddy of mine, one of the guys he talked about, Hendo, and Fox and I worked together. We started meeting in the morning. That flourished to a group, like a men's group.
Yeah.
And now it's like a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And what we would do is when we got an ambulance, somebody we got in the back, if they were just sick or not feeling well or going through a hard time, we would always ask them, we'd say, hey, I don't know where you are with your faith or belief in God, but would you mind me praying for you? And as long as we would, talk to them and everything, and like majority of the time, most people would say, "Yeah, I would like that," And it just goes to show you, like a lot of times when I talked to somebody about it today, I said, "Isn't it ironic that like when people are struggling or sick or hurting in they're believers, a lot of times they run away from God and they get mad at God.
Yep.
And I've said it on this show before. It just baffles me that when believers don't do something or they get mad or when something doesn't work out, they get mad at God. But people who don't believe or are falling away or strayed or whatever like that, it's so incredible to me that like those people run towards God. Even the God that they don't believe in. Because I can't tell you, and you probably had this too, like people who don't believe in God, they'll call you when they're going through a bad time.
Yep.
They'll say, hey, can you pray for me?
Yeah.
I'm not good at this prayer thing, or I don't really believe in all this, but it's like, do you mind praying for me?
Yeah.
And that to me is kind of ironic. Like it's kind of it's kind of pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I was That just made me think, like, I forget it. I don't remember who. I'm sure we've all heard like a quote like it, but it's basically like someone said, "I don't pray." Said I pray my hardest when everything's going good.
Yeah.
Like basically because like I've found myself, like I said,
know.
there's yeah, dude. Like I'm serious. I mean, I've struggled with addiction to things, just my personal life and stuff, and there'll be times when it seems like it's going really good, and then it's literally like a snap, and it's like, whoa, like I feel like I'm back to ground zero now, you know. And that's when I'm like, man, I need to get, man, I'm like, I'm trying to, you know, I guess seek the Lord more and like pray and I'm like, Lord, like I need you to, you know, I need you to renew my mind, renew my heart for the things of you, and remind me of your truth. And it's just like kind of like a roller coaster effect. You're like, everything's great,
Yeah.
feeling good, and then that's when it's like the enemy comes in and he's like, hey, like, check this out.
And he'll take advantage of your shame
Yep.
and your grief, your worry, whatever you're dealing with.
Yeah.
He takes advantage of that. So,
And because on the flip side of that, there's a lot of times where if there's something sinful going on in my life, and I'm like, I hear the lie of going like, well, man, you're not even worthy to go to God. And like you are, like you just did this, like, or you're doing this, like God doesn't want to talk to you. He doesn't want to hear you. Like you're not worthy to do that. And then sometimes like you believe that. Like we're humans, and we believe those lies because that's just it's in our nature just to want to do the wrong things, and then just to be like, man, like golly, and just sink into that hole. But then on the flip side of that, there's a lot of times where you remember the truth and you're like, that is all false. That is all a lie. And, you know, I was just like, I can't tell you how many times that, you know, just that roller coaster and that just cycle of thoughts comes in a lot. Yeah.
Scripture says that Satan is a great manipulator.
Oh, yeah.
So if he can manipulate us, like people who are really trying hard to work and dive in and do what's best for Christ, I mean, think of what he can do for somebody who doesn't really care.
No, real.
And so, like, it's, you know, like another thing, and we've said it before, like, he's like a roaring lion seeking who he may devour. Like, that is, I think about that all the time.
Yep.
Like, whenever I screw up or mess up, man, I'm always like, first of all, man, a lot of times the older I get and the more girls I have and the more estrogen that's in my house, I like literally will fall into tears because of my shame. And I have to literally talk to God and say, look, I shouldn't feel like this because you don't feel like this. Like you always have your hand. I was telling somebody the other day, it's like Satan has his hands out for people who are trying and wanting God.
Yeah.
So he goes and he's trying to grab you and pull you in, suck you into whatever he can to manipulate you, make you feel worthless, not worthy. And he's doing all that. And he has his hand out. And once he gets you and he pulls you in, you're meaningless to him. Like he's like, I got them, whatever.
Leave him alone.
Yeah. But then you have Christ. And I was explaining this to somebody the other day. I was like, but Christ has his hand out for you.
Yeah.
Whether you believe in him or not, he has his hand out for you. And if you reach out to his hand and he pulls you in, he grabs you, he holds you.
Yeah.
And he comforts you and he gives you peace. And then guess what? If you decline that peace, you run away, you get away from his arms and you go do your thing. He puts it the moment you leave, he's reaching back out for you.
Yeah.
And his hand never leaves that position. Like he is wanting you all the time.
Yeah.
To where like Satan only wants you when you're not believing in what he wants you to believe in.
Yep.
And that's just crazy. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. And it's so crazy because I meet so many people that I worry and love so much, and they're such good people too.
Yeah.
And it's just like, gosh, man, like he's got them.
Yep.
And they're not bad people.
No, I know.
They're awesome people.
Yeah.
But it's like, he's got them, man.
Yeah. No, for real.
And it just hurts. It kills my soul, man.
Yeah.
It's sad.
So, one thing I wanted to ask was, we've had a lot of, I guess, a pretty common theme with all of our guests I would say is that there's been a continuation of learning and growing spiritually, but I mean in the workforce too. But I feel like spiritually more than anything, just because like we've all agreed that God's not ever done working on us.
Yeah.
So what's something recently that maybe you've been going through or that God's been teaching you? First responding or not?
Yeah. No. So I said I've never really been. I don't know. Like there's an element of like edge. I think you should feel as a first responder, and I think if you don't have that at all, like if you don't have some of like that oh crap factor pretty much all the time, like where you're like, not I don't know, not like being just walking around being fearful, like scared of everything, but literally realizing like this could, like, kind of realizing worst case scenario, and kind of having that mindset because it's a reality of what we do.
Yeah.
I think if you don't have that, I don't even think you should be doing this, because like if you don't have that, then that rolls over into complacency, and complacency will get you killed.
Yeah.
And so I feel like lately, I don't know, like I said, I'm not a fearful person, but there has been times where I've literally I felt anxious. I know we talked about that a little bit earlier, but like I've never been that kind of person that's like, oh my gosh, like I've got anxiety, like, I'm not that, never been that way. But I also felt like when I've been talking to the Lord, especially I talked to the meeting because I'm alone in my patrol car for 12 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here doing calls here and there, but I mean, that's where I'm the most alone, like all the time. And, like I've talked to the Lord, and I'm like, Lord, like why? Like I know the truth. I know that like you are the Prince of Peace, and I know that I've got you and you've got me. Like why am I feeling so anxious? And I just feel like I wrote this down. But I reminded of a verse, and I actually thought about a thing too. I was walking. This is a total side note, but when I was in high school, I literally was walking into my bathroom one day. It's just so random. I was just going in to brush my teeth, get ready for the day, and like I don't remember what I was going through, but just this verse is. I already knew this verse, but it just stuck with me ever since then. I refer to this so vividly. I heard the Lord say, Matthew 11:28-30. It says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." It says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light." And another verse that comes to mind is 1 Peter 5:7. It says, "Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you." And like I said, I've never been an anxious person, but I also tie that anxiety into the anxiousness into. I just went through SWAT school 2 weeks ago. The hardest thing that I've done since I've been a cop, truly, mentally, and probably physically. I mean, I said I go to the gym a lot. I mean, I've done CrossFit, and I don't do CrossFit really anymore. But like, I mean, I've done some hard workouts and stuff where I've pushed my limits, and felt like I'm dying just work because I mean, you know that's the only way you're gonna grow in that, and in fitness and stuff. But I have a desire to do well. I think I want to do what I do in excellence, and when I know that there's people watching me, seeing how well I do, I mean that creates anxiousness in me because I'm going like, man, like I hope to God that I do well. And that really was at the forefront of my mind on this. Like, it was fun. Don't get me wrong. It was so much fun. The training was absolutely incredible. And a shout out to all those guys at Barrow County. I mean, that was some of the best training that I've ever had as a cop.
Yeah.
And they are about it. No, just day one going in, you have to shoot in. So you have to shoot literally just 2 pieces of paper stacked up on just copy paper stacked up on top. You just shoot 10 rounds in the top paper, standing, 10 rounds in the piece of paper on the bottom. You have to do that kneeling. There's no time limit. It's just at your own pace. You just shoot it. You have to hit 18 out of 20 rounds. So you have to hit at least 9 rounds on top, at least 9 rounds on bottom. I qualified. I was fine. So that was kind of hoop number 1. So I was like, cool. After that, it's kind of cake, whatever.
Did you meet, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Did you meet Kyle White while you were there?
Kyle White. Maybe.
He just
That Kyle
anyway,
Black.
There,
I mean, I'm serious. Unless you got your colors mixed up.
no, I don't think so.
No, I met a guy named Kyle White. He was one of our instructors.
Kyle White was on the. We graduated high school, same class, but he's a
instructor.
He's a cop and a police officer in Toccoa, or he was, and I think now he's with the sheriff's office there.
Yeah. He may have been
But
there. I'm not sure.
he posted recently that within the last week or two, that he finished SWAT school in Barrow County.
Oh, that he finished it? Maybe he was there.
Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. No, that's cool. But anyway, like I've always said, and a lot of my buddies agree with me, but like I feel like I would perform better, like I guess tactically like in a real scenario. And while that sounds crazy, like because obviously when we're training, like I'm not actually gonna die. I mean, we use sim guns, things like that, like little paintball guns that look like a Glock, stuff like that, you know. But I don't know just my whole life when I know someone is looking at me, expecting me to do something, like it just makes me anxious. And I feel like that was amplified a lot this 2 weeks ago because, like I said, like it's literally level 1 entry level basic SWAT school, but like it's a big deal, especially for me.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, it was it's held in very high regard especially for the guys who train, who are the instructors there. I mean, there's a whole alumni page on Facebook. If you've gone through and you earned your SWAT coin, which I've got, keep it in my wallet, and you're supposed to keep it with you at all times. But going through the week, like I called my mom. Maybe I talked to her. I think it may have been before I went, but I just told her, I was like, I just need you to pray. So I said, I've never felt like I was excited, but never felt this anxious about something just because it's going to be a lot. Because there's just what people have said, like it's not easy. Like you got to get through it.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, day one was the shoot-in, things like that. After that, it was a lot of like building clearing, learning how to just work in a stack, learning how to, which was a lot of stuff I've done before, but like just making sure we did it the way, Barrow County was training us, because some of our tactics in Monroe are a little bit different. It's all kind of the same, but just making sure we were able to flow and do it how they want us to do it. Just a lot of tactics, learning things like that, basically all in preparation for Friday, which Friday was the last day. We actually have to plan out an op we're separated into teams. I had a team of 5. There's a team leader, a shield guy, and there's 3 like bunker support people, like stuff like that. And we planned it out. We did it. But that morning, we had to meet at the Barrow County Sheriff's Office at, I think I got there like 7:45. And like that was a day, like one of those days where me and my friend Jake, another guy named, Jake Smith? I think maybe did you say you did?
The name sounds familiar. I don't.
Yeah, he went to Walnut Grove, but I don't know.
Yeah.
He's over that way, but
Okay.
But he's one of my best friends, and it was an honor to be able to go do that with him. It was really, really cool that we were able to do it together. But it was funny. So the morning we were going there, I was trying to kind of break the ice because we both knew like this was the day we had to get it done, like just lock in and like freaking just do it. And I picked him up. We were driving one of our old white Dodge Chargers we have because we were going to be disgusting all week, just dirty and muddy and stuff. And I picked him up, and like the whole ride there, we were just like basically just silent, like just because we knew we were about to have to just do this. And I tried to break the ice because we had a plan to play golf the next week. And like, well, seriously, we didn't say a word. We're like halfway there. So I said, we're going to play golf Tuesday. And he just looked at me like, shut up. Like, and I was like, I'm sorry, bro. I'm just trying to, I know we got a lot going on. But anyway, so we ended up doing the op. We got there, and it was really weird. Me and him talked about it. Like, I had a lot of just like, this like knot in my stomach because like you just know when you get there. They drive us to a separate location from where we're at and things like that. I'm not going to dive into too much because like I don't want to give away this secret.
Don't want to ruin SWAT school for somebody else.
But no, you got an op and all that stuff, and we execute it and we did it, and but then after all that, we had the earn it portion. And the earn it portion was, like I said, the hardest thing that I've had to do mentally, like probably in my life. people who've been through something harder, kudos to you, because for me personally, it was a lot. Like I said, I won't give the details of that away, but it's just a lot of pressure and a lot of just mental games that are played. And that's something that I should, like, when I'm not the kind of, like, when people who you're supposed to be friends with, when you have confrontational interactions with something like that, like, that is my, like, least favorite thing ever. And that makes, like, so, like, all these instructors and things that we're doing, like, they're yelling at you, like, a lot. And, like, depending on the setting, like, I don't know what it is, and obviously in this career it's different, but, like, depending on who it is, I don't take being yelled at with profanity very well.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, especially people who you're supposed to be on the same team with.
Yeah.
But I felt like while we were doing it, I was able to kind of just focus up and, realize that this is just for the betterment of my career and just everything. And I seriously, we're waiting it's an individual assessment, but we're waiting for our turn. I just prayed. I was like, Lord, I said, just help me to tune everything out and just help me to focus on where I need to get to and what I need to do. Just listen to what I'm being told to do and get it done. And the moment I stepped out to do it, I just felt like everything kind of went like, pff, like almost like my pupils like constricted, and it was just like go. And
Mm-hmm.
it was cool. But one of the best things is as soon as you're done, all the people who are, like I said, they're yelling at, they're yelling at you, it's just part of it. But like at the end of it all, one of the things that meant the most to me, it was honestly a very emotional, like I said, there was a lot of just sweat and some blood and tears, all that crap, just everything put into it. Because they, like I said, it's called earn it. You got to earn it. And they're not going to give you your coin unless you do. But one of the coolest things is after, we do what we do. Like I said, I don't want to give away everything we do, but after you get done, they look at you and they ask you if you think you earned it. And I told them, I said, I don't know. I was like, I hope so. And they one of the main instructors there held his hand out. He said, you did. And like, he like shakes your hand and they literally like gives you a hug and they're like, congratulations. And it's like every bit of that, like all of the anxiousness I have from the week, it's just crazy. It was just gone because I just finished. I was like, it was done. But I say all that to say, like, it was, I don't know. That's, like I said, I mean, I wouldn't consider myself an anxious person, but more so lately that was a big thing. And I think anybody would be quote unquote nervous about some of that stuff. Cause I mean, anybody would be, I think when you're being evaluated and you have to perform and display things that you've learned, adequately. Cause like I said, they didn't joke about, like, if you cannot do the things that they're learning, that they're teaching you, like, you will not stay in the class. And I mean, people get cut. They do. We lost a couple people that just couldn't, and so that was in my mind. I'm like, shoot, like, I hope that I can do it all. And I can. It's just, that's just the thoughts that roll through your mind. But, yeah, I mean, anxiousness was very real, as of late. But that even to say all that to say, like, even just lately on, just when I'm on regular shift and going to certain calls, and my mind just starts rolling, going like, golly, this could go like bad. Like what is going on? And that's not a bad thing to think about, because like I said, that's the reality of the job. But there's times where I'm like, this is like consuming my thoughts to the point where, like, I need to just focus. I don't need to worry about this, but to this extent. But I need, but I think having an element of, like I said, that edge of going like, this could happen, but not letting it absolutely take over your mind. Like, I think you have to have a healthy balance of all that. But I just feel like I've noticed as of late, it's kind of been tough. But I was, like I said, I was reminded of those verses, and they have truly been helping. So.
I think that's really cool that, like you mentioned, that you had that verse just kind of pop into your head randomly, and it was like however long before, however long before you even got into law enforcement.
Yeah.
And it's like that, the Spirit or God has just, continued to bring that up.
Yeah.
Or brought that up again. And, just like you mentioned, praying. And I mean, we've talked several times on here about the power of prayer. I mean, not just for like healing and praying over like situations for people or anything like that, but specifically, I mean, there's power of prayer in praying for peace in situations and
Yeah.
for steadiness. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've done that, especially like if a hot call or something coming out or a call came out that you don't know what you're going into. Yeah. Like on the way to that call, like I've prayed, Lord, steady my hands, steady my feet, give me the focus and attention that I need to handle this. And I mean, it happens like it.
Oh yeah.
And there's, for me, and knowing who I am as a person, there's no other way to explain it other than the power of the Holy Spirit.
I seriously, like, I'm kidding you not, like, same for me, for real, like, I can't even count how many times when there's calls that come out and I read the comments and I look and my heart kind of just drops. I'm like, holy cow, like this could be the one where something goes south. And it's nerve wracking, but seriously, I pray, I'm like, Lord, I do it all the time. I probably quote it just about the same way every time. I let Lord remind me of my training, remind me of everything you've taught me since I've started in the jail, how to talk to people, everything I've learned tactically, how to shoot, how to run, how to fight, everything. I said, Lord, when I need it, please God, remind me of it in the moment that I need it. And I can truly say that, like, there's certain things that have happened, or certain things that I've just been a part of, and certain calls, and I'm like, there's no other explanation as to how that call went other than the Lord literally guiding me, truly guiding my words and my body language to how I, address people, and just, the questions that I ask, because I'm the kind of person where if there's so much going on, sometimes it's hard for me to focus. And I think that's probably common with, what we do, but there's so many moving parts to certain things. If there's a shooting, if there's, someone who's, if there's like an armed robbery over here, and the guy's running this way, and this and that and the other, it can just be a lot. But there's so many times where I feel like the Lord has just steadied my mind and just eased my spirit enough for me to slow down and just get it done. And that's the only explanation I have is Him.
Yeah. So, a couple of things. First, I'm glad you don't do CrossFit anymore. That's ridiculous. Anyway, and second of all, like we had a discussion with Bones, one of our last season guests, and he said we're a work in progress, so we're always working to get better. Casting all your cares upon Him because He cares for you is one of my life verses. Yeah. And even then, it's hard to really lock into that sometimes. Because there's a couple of things I was gonna say. But I did have a question. So do you think, how long ago would you say this anxiety started? Where you noticed it?
I mean, I would say the root of it, just in general, because it's kind of a wave thing, but like, probably honestly, like the realization of it was probably in the jail. I mean, truly, like honestly that far back. But like I said, I feel like there's times where I've kind of grown recently, out of it.
I was wondering.
I guess this recent one is probably within the past. It's probably knowing that I was coming up towards SWAT school, and it's probably within the past month or so that it's kind of been like more prevalent, I guess. But yeah.
So I was kind of thinking this, and the reason why I say this is because you need to be prepared for this. I was thinking it could have to do with your new daughter.
Oh yeah.
She's a daughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
she'll be a year old.
Yeah, you said child, so
April 14th. Yep, she'll be a year old.
So the reason I was going with that is because, like, a lot of my anxiety and worry, like, I try to remember in my 20s and my 30s, I say my 30s. I try to remember in my 20s where I actually worried about things. And, like, there was a time period after I had my two best friends died in a car wreck when I was 20. Yeah. And so it was kind of like after they passed, but that was more of like a redemption story where I felt like I needed to change as a person because I didn't feel like I was who I should have been for them. But like, I don't remember worrying about things.
Yeah.
But when I got married, that had a little bit of effect, but not too much. But the moment I started having kids, like, I could tell
Yeah.
that something was different.
Yeah.
Because, like, my existence isn't just dependent on me.
Yep.
Like, I know my wife doesn't want me to pass. Maybe she does. I don't know. but no. But I know she doesn't want me to pass or something bad happen to me.
Yeah.
But I know my wife is strong enough to get through that if something did. Mm-hmm. But like with my kids there, it's like, man, I always have a problem with worry.
Yeah.
I have to pray about that all the time because worry is a sin.
Yeah.
And I have to pray about that all the time. And so I will prepare you for that. I was wondering if it stemmed back, if you were going to say about the time period of that.
Yeah.
But I will let you know that certain things like that, because this SWAT school, you want to get through it.
Yeah.
But anything that benefits you is going to now benefit them.
Yep.
And especially her. And future any hers and hims. And so for me, I could tell that like my production or how I was on a scene was amplified more by that fact.
Yep.
And we hear all the time, like, nothing's routine in our professions. So like you have to, the moment, and I've talked about it here, the moment you get there's a difference between cockiness and confidence and routine and lackadaisy.
Yeah.
So being confident is great, but being overly confident where it turns into cockiness can get you killed.
Oh, yeah.
And then not taking something as serious, like every call the same and treating it routine, that's literally how, what would you say, 90% of police and firemen die. I mean, most firemen die in training.
Yep.
And like, and like driving to the scene, like it's absolutely insane. Like majority of all deaths could have been prevented.
Yep.
And in policing, a lot of it is like deaths might have been prevented, but the biggest thing is that they treated it as routine.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you just kind of like, I guess, got lackadaisy. But you've seen the videos.
Oh yeah,
of these police that they're not doing protocol, they're not doing procedure, they're kind of not, they're off guard.
Yeah.
They're kind of like like, and just kind of like, oh, I gotta run another call. Which as firemen we do the same thing. We're like, oh God, we're going to see Granny, but we don't know what's going to happen on any call. Like there's been several calls where I've gotten to the call where we were like, oh, this is a stupid call. And the moment I got there, I got a feeling or an instance like, I need to call for PD. Yeah. Or I need to call for backup. Or or you'll walk in, it's like, oh, hard to breathe. And what really sucks about that is we have so much clientele now that waters down what the true meaning of our calls are or emergency. So it makes us psychologically think, oh gosh, we're running this again. This is ridiculous. And then you actually get to that call and you're like, oh crap. Like this is for real. This is legit. Like, dang it. Now I'm behind because I mentally didn't prep myself for this. And we should do every call like that. Yeah. And I'm guilty of that. I preach against that, but I'm also guilty of that, which I hate saying, but it's I think it's typical, and I think that you need to be prepared for the fact that your daughter might cause that extra worry on you. Yeah. And that's okay. That's fine. Yeah. You just got to pray, stay on it and pray about it because man, that's a big deal for me. Yeah. Like that's one of my hardest things to do is to let go that worry. When I'm on shift for 24 hours, half the time I'm there, I'm like, oh, I hope they get home from school okay. Oh, I hope they do this. Yeah. And it's just because but we don't have it in our control. Yeah. And that's what we think we have control over. We think we have the audacity to think that we can control something. My wife and I went through a tragedy where we lost a child, and It was a premature birth. She passed away in utero. My wife had to give birth to her.
Yeah.
And then it happened again in the same year. And so I talk about this to try to help me heal from it. But right here in Grace, Grace Church right down the street. So we were visiting new churches, Church of the Grove being one, Grace being one, Journey. We were visiting, and we had just lost our baby the weekend before, and we were visiting Grace. We were coming in there, and the girl at the door, she asked my wife, how's the baby doing? Because she remembered us coming there before, remembered her names and everything. The most incredible person to remember people I've ever met. Like, she knew my name. I met her. Megan introduced me to her.
Yeah.
And so, when she said that, you could tell. I was like, when she said it, I was like, oh man, she doesn't, I was like, I felt so sorry for her.
Yeah.
Because my wife completely broke down. And she goes, oh, you should have seen her face. I felt terrible.
Yeah.
And she was just like, oh my gosh, what happened? And she knew that something bad happened.
Yeah.
And so they pull us to the side. We go to a little corner of the church, and the preacher's over there talking to us. There's an elder over there talking with us. And I spoke about this in my my testimony.
Yeah.
We're sitting there, I'm looking at my wife, and I'm like, they're consoling her, and we're talking about it. And this elder guy that's over there, he comes over to me, and he puts his hand on my shoulder, and he's like, I think you need to let it go. And I'm like, my wife's breaking down right now.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm the one you need to talk to.
Yeah.
And then he goes, the Lord's telling me that you need to let this go. And dude, out of nowhere, my whole body felt weak.
Yeah.
I felt whoa, it was just this feeling over me of just absolute, just broken.
Yeah.
And he was right. The whole time I'm sitting here, worried about my wife. And this is what first responders do all the time.
Yeah.
Is we're supposed to be the ones that help, save, protect, do all this stuff. And we get that mentality, and we engulf ourselves in that mentality. And we carry it with us.
Yeah.
Even though we don't carry it home, you do to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But for the most part, people are really good at not taking it home. I try not to take anything home.
Yeah.
But I would be lying if I said that I've never taken a bad shift home with me.
Oh yeah.
So, but that taught me something, because it taught me I had taken every pain and all the grief and anguish that my wife felt on our first child that we lost, and my own grief. I had thrown it on my shoulder, and I kept on going.
Yeah.
And then when the second one happened, I tried to do the same thing. I took her grief, and I remember sitting in that room watching her go through that again, and thinking to myself, I'm like, that, like I said it before, was pretty almost as bad as losing two, watching her give birth and her going through that emotional destruction.
Yep.
Was almost as bad as losing two children.
Yeah.
And I took that, I wrapped it up, took it with my own grief, and threw it over the other shoulder.
Yeah.
And I just kept on moving forward, because that's what we're trained to do.
Yep.
We're trained to be professional, take it on because they can't.
Yeah.
Someone else can't. We're responsible for taking it on. Do it. But we're also taught that that's not our emergency.
Yeah.
And in this case, that was my emergency.
Yeah.
But what I did is I treated it like I do my patients, and I treated it like it wasn't my emergency, until some dude that I've never met before, I've never seen since, put his hand on me and said, God says you need to let it go.
Yep.
And I'm like, bro, I mean, it's just me like,
Yeah.
because
feel
I
it.
can't explain the feeling. There's nothing that can explain the feeling that I had right then. And it was in front of all these people.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I look back and I was like, God, I look like such an idiot. But at the time, man, like, dude, it ended up like my wife being this person they were consoling. And then next thing I know, my wife has her hand on my shoulder and they're consoling me.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but I learned that, like, man, I can't get that. We can be strong, but part of being strong is what that verse says, 1 Peter 5:7, is casting those cares on him. Because if we don't cast, our boat's just filling up.
Yep.
It's like the disciples. They had all those fish in that boat, and they're about to sink, and they had to dump the fish to get rid of. I mean, we have to let that go, because if we don't, it's never going to get better.
Yeah.
To me, I always say it's harder for cops to do that.
Yeah.
Because majority of the time, y'all are in a patrol car, like you said, for 12 hours by yourself.
Yeah.
You're your own worst enemy when you're alone.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's when the devil knows that you're vulnerable.
Oh, dude, like that. Like, just to jump on that, like I've always said is like one of the coolest parts about being a cop. So on the flip side of that is, to me, like because obviously we have supervisors, we have things we have to do, there's places we need to patrol, but like you're kind of your own boss as far as like you can drive wherever you want. If you're not on a call, you can stop your car. So like, I mean, like that's like my office space basically.
Yeah.
That's like your, it's like where you work.
Your comfort zone.
Yeah.
I guess your
And like
place.
that's like where you go, and like that to me is honestly kind of what draws me. Like one reason why I like being the cop is because like it's something, it's you're going to the same spot, but like, man, I would genuinely probably not be able to handle a 9 to 5. Like I just couldn't do it. But I on the flip side of that, like you were saying though, like I will find myself really, really alone in my thoughts when it's really funny because like you'll kind of be chilling, doing whatever, looking up people, doing whatever, looking at your phone, if you're just chilling if there's not something pressing at that time. And then like, I'll get those random thoughts of like from the enemy or just things that I'm dealing with or struggling with. And I'm like, I don't need to be thinking about that right now. But at the same time, I'm like, why not? I'm like, there's nothing going on, And, but it really can. It can cause you to sink. It can cause you to spiral in that, and sometimes there's calls that come out. I'm like, thank God. Because like I can go do something else, But I can seriously say like there's times where I pulled behind this building one time and like it's honestly though, for me, truly, like it's honestly, I'll have my quiet time in my patrol car a lot. Like I'll pull somewhere, like obviously if there's calls, we go to calls, but like if there's times where we've got downtime, like in the morning, like I might get some breakfast with a couple of buddies that we on my shift and stuff, but I'll go find a spot and I'll pull out the word and I'll read the word and I'll spend time with the Lord. And honestly, like it's seriously pretty, like some of the best times I feel like that I've had spiritually have been in my patrol car.
Yeah.
I've literally been in my patrol car, like maybe even going to a call, and like I'll have some worship music on, the Spirit just smacks me, and I've literally been on the way to calls, and I'm like sobbing in my car, and I'm like about to get a call, I'm like, I gotta clear this up real quick. I was gonna not know what's going on, but like, man, like, no, that's happened a lot, and there's certain times where you seriously like the Spirit will just be very overwhelming in that little space. Yeah, that's happened many times, and it's been awesome because it stinks because sometimes, like, I don't know, when you're when the Spirit is like thick and you can feel it, and like I'm just worshiping, like I'm singing these songs and listening to these lyrics, and they're just like hitting me, and a call will come out of something, and I'm just like, man, like I don't want to leave, you know? And it's funny because sometimes if I'm going through something, like there's an element of a hardness that I have, and like I'll be praying. I'm like, and I've stopped. I feel like for a while, like when I was kind of in high school and really, like, I guess, growing in my faith and stuff, like I felt like I had to pray a certain way, where you have to articulate your prayers in a certain direction, to say certain words. And I literally got to the point, I feel like the Lord just told me, he's like, why are you, it's like, I literally already know what you're feeling. So why are you trying to like manipulate your words to sound like this theologian? Like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of hit me, and I was like, cause I just got to the point where like, if I was, whatever I was feeling, I was like, Lord, I was like, you already know how I'm feeling. So I'm just going to tell you how I feel. And I said, it's just funny. Cause like, there'll be times when I'm angry, or I'm frustrated, or I'm sad, or like I don't want to. Sometimes where I feel like I don't even want to go before the Lord, and just in the selfishness in my heart, like I'm like, I don't want to do that because I'm good, I've got it. And then, like I said, then I'll start praying.
That pride.
Exactly, yeah. And like you sometimes have to force yourself to go to that place, and then it's almost like you just start melting away. Like, I don't know how to describe, if that makes sense, but like I found myself in my patrol car like that a lot. Like when I've just been going through stuff. Because like I said, we're alone. Like I'm on the job, and that's what I'm focused on. But like I said, when you're alone, man, you think about stuff, and a lot of times you don't really get to think about or realize about yourself, because even while I'm at my house, like if I'm alone, I've got my daughter, or I'm going to the gym or doing whatever, just doing something, and but patrol car, or you're just, and it's you.
Yeah.
In there, But,
and that's why I said it's hard. I think it's a lot harder for police because, firemen, for the most part, we got a crew. Mm-hmm. And I always tell my guys, man, if you're battling something at home, and you need to talk about something, pull me to the office, or pull somebody to the office and talk to somebody about it. Yep. If we run a call, you need to talk about it. Yeah. There was a call that we ran. I wasn't on duty. I had taken the day off. And Dempsey, who was on our show, he was a brand new rookie. Yeah. I want to say this was like it might have been his like, it could have been maybe his like fourth shift.
Man.
Brand new.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't know what he's doing, Yeah. And they ran a call in Newton County. Mm-hmm. It was the most fatalities in a car wreck in the county's history. Golly. It was a van full of like disabled / mentally like handicapped people. It was a transport van for handicapped people. And it was the day before Thanksgiving.
Oh, dude. That's terrible.
And so this kid goes out. His mom needs something from the store. She asks him to go out and get it. I don't really know what happened, but he came around a corner and he crossed over the lines and hit this van. Gosh. So my guys did a good job, and I hated it because I wish I was there. It sucks to say that. Yeah. I wish I was there, but I hated it because I wish I was there for him. Yeah. Because that's a lot of trauma to see just getting on the department.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And so I think it was a total of 5 or 6 people who died. When they get there, the van's on fire. There's 2 people burning up inside. And then the description I got was it looked like bags of clothes on the side of the road that were people because they're so mangled. And so, like, then the kid, he's messed up. It's just bad. Yeah. Very bad situation. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, gosh, I wish I was there for Dempsey. Gosh, I wish I was there. I was at home. I remember cooking, and that's when I saw the call come out on my active 911. Because I always, when I was off shift, I'd always monitor to see if anything happened. And I saw that call come out, and it was like, head-on collision, car on fire, like all this stuff. And you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And I just remember that. Well, and I called those guys like immediately. What really bothered me about that is no one went over there to like brief them, like stress brief them, like, and ask them questions. No one offered anything. Mm-hmm. In fact, Dempsey called me I asked them if they were okay that after the call.
Yeah.
They said they were okay, but the next day Dempsey called me. He goes, I don't know if I'm okay. Like, I couldn't sleep last night. You know, this is kind of like I just need to talk to somebody. And he had to reach out to somebody for that briefing, which I wasn't happy about.
Yeah.
Because we should have somebody in a county. Every county and every city should have somebody. If something like that comes out, somebody needs to be hit up.
Yeah.
Like a preacher, minister, county, what do they call it?
Like a chaplain.
Like chaplain.
Yeah.
And supposedly we have a chaplain, but he's not vested in the county. He's just a preacher who says, "I'll help if you let me know."
Yeah.
And I really wanted to look into becoming the county chaplain at Newton.
Mm-hmm.
And I've thought about that because that bothers me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Somebody should have gone and helped. Somebody should have gone and talked to them. In Cherokee, whenever we ran a bad call, when we got back, we would either, the chaplain would be waiting for us there when we got back, or we would get a call and it would be the chaplain. He said, "Hey, do I need to come over there and talk to y'all? Is everybody good?" He'd ask a couple questions.
Yeah.
And he'd want to talk to everybody. But at least there's something. So it really bothered me that it happened because, we start to carry all that stuff on, and a police officer goes through that. Like, he might see somebody at shift change, or maybe on duty, hear a call or something.
Yeah.
But they're alone. Like, at least those guys could go back. The kid calls we've been able to come back to the station and either talk about it, or we all ran it so the next day we can talk about it or something like that. But police on a different hand, and that's, I always tell my rookies and the people who work under me and work with me, I always tell them, look, we're going to treat the officers with respect. There's a lot of firemen that are jerks to police officers, but there's a lot of police officers that are jerks to firemen. It is a stupid.
I don't know why. I mean,
We're all, the goal's all pretty much the same.
Well, if I had to run calls with freaking Jacob, I can understand why you'd be a jerk. So, but honestly, like,
I ran a couple calls with him when it was not that bad.
when I interacted with firemen, they were probably like, "Why is this officer so nice? What's he talking to?"
no, they're like in Step Brothers when he goes, "I don't know what, it's just your face." I just want to punch it. But anyway, but I always tell them, man, treat them good. Like, we're on the same team. We just play different positions. We're all here for the same purpose. They got a position, clear the scene, make sure if there's any help, we can help them. When they clear the scene, we go in, we do our job, whatever the position is. But we all have different positions. And I think a lot of that is because of my dad being a police officer. I have the utmost respect for him. And so when we're on scene, I always say, like most cops most firemen, a lot of time, not most, but a lot of firemen will be like, "Oh, they're good, let's go." I always make sure, are y'all good? Do you need us to stay? Like, do you need help blocking the road? Sometimes that pisses off the other firemen I'm with, because now we can't go back to bed, or we can't go train, or we pulled them from something, whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I always tell them this. They do the same thing with EMS, because in Newton County, we don't have our own EMS service. It's a separate entity. When we run calls with EMS, when I run with some people, they're like, "Oh, y'all good?" Slam the back door, and they're gone. In the fire truck, headed off.
Yeah.
See, I didn't do that. And I told people, if you work with me, we're going to help those guys. We're going to get in the back. You're going to learn what you learned. You're going to do it, because if you don't, you're never going to retain it.
Yeah.
And so I make them get IVs. I make them do compressions. I make them get in the back and do whatever that EMT does.
Yeah.
Until that medic or EMT says, "We don't need you anymore," we're staying on scene.
Yep.
Because that's our position. Our position is to help the other positions that are all part of what we do as first responders. And it really frustrates me when I see other entities not care.
Yeah.
And it's
really grinds your gears.
Oh, it does. You can ask my guys. Ask Murray.
Yeah.
Like, I've kept him on scenes, and he hasn't ever cared.
Yeah.
Personally, I would let you know, because if he was short, he's an angry little elf. Like. But like Murray's big on that, and I like that. I'd like to say that maybe he pulled some of that from me, but we did well. Those guys appreciated that. But some of the guys that came into my station, they were like, "What?" And I'm like, "What?" What'd you say?
Yeah.
You know, like, no, that's our position. And I tell them this, if you want to selfishly look at it this way. When we need all right, so EMS.
Yeah.
If they don't need us and we do for them, they're going to scratch our back and look after us. Yeah. Same thing with dispatch. Same thing with PD. I can't tell you how many PD guys who we have a good rapport with, we've showed up on a call. We really don't need to be out there. And like, y'all can go, man. It ain't. And we're like, thank the Lord, you know? So like, cause you know, I mean, and these guys in Newton County, man, I love them to death, but they have no idea what it's like to run like an EMS service where you just don't go out there and then you leave. And you have to like actually pick them up, put them in the back of the ambulance, and now you got to run them down to the hospital, and you're up for an hour and a half before you get back. So there's a lot of things that people don't understand, but the thing is the culture has to change somewhere. And if you keep on saying, "Oh, we just slam the door, let's go," that you're just giving that culture to the next young guy who doesn't know that's all he knows. Mm-hmm. So then you have a whole freaking slew of guys that, you know, they don't really care about the cops. They don't really care about EMS. They're just here to do cool stuff, break windows, and put out fire, you know, like, and yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
But that is probably 3% of our job.
Yeah.
We don't get to do that crap much.
Nope.
That's why we love it so much.
Yeah.
That's why we love it so much. So like, the fact is that you're always looking after someone else, and I hate that mentality because no wonder PD doesn't like us because freaking fire doesn't want to help them. Yeah. You know, like.
No, we had a good call the other day. Well, I say a good call, and actually this lady lived, which was awesome. But like, was my first call. It was on I think it was on Monday. Yeah. But it was like sometimes the calls come out. Obviously, it came out as an unconscious, and then fire and EMS got dispatched. And sometimes you read the comments, you're like, I'm about to get dispatched to that. It's like, you know, you're probably gonna get there before they do. Came out unconscious, like 59-year-old female, just recently had a heart attack. Came in unconscious, warm to the touch, no pulse. And I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going with that. And then of course they had 340 radio, which my badge number is 340. I was like, I'm clear, I'm en route. So I get there, and like this lady walks out the front doors, like these apartments off GW Carver Drive, and lady comes out. She's kind of frantic, and I was like, "Where's she at? What's going on?" And I had my AED, but luckily my sergeant was right behind me. He grabbed my AED when he got there, but I ran in there because time is of the essence. So I ran in there.
Compressions are most
important. Yeah. But ran in there, and she was on the couch laying there, just like she was just sitting there like normal. But her head was back, agonal breathing, the whole shebang. Still very warm, very much warm, very fresh. Like I was like, shoot, like we gotta get going. So started giving her compressions. I laid her down, gave her compressions, and then like while I'm doing that, like he grabs my AED, my sergeant grabs my AED out of the car. We hook her up to it. By that time, EMS and fire are walking in, and we're like all working it together. We shocked her twice, but like it was really cool because like it's just funny you're talking about that too, because like that was a moment where like we were all like working together.
It's freaking awesome when that happens,
dude. And it was like flowing, and we were like, there was no like miscommunication. We didn't really have to talk. We were just like hooked the pads up, like somebody swapping me in compressions, got the Lucas device on her.
It's the best.
And rolling.
Man.
And then we, like I said, shocked her twice, got her in the stretcher, picked her up, ambulance, got her to Piedmont Walton. She got shipped to Eastside, and they stabilized her. She's alive.
That's awesome. Freaking rare. I tell people that's absolutely rare.
Yeah.
You find somebody pulseless.
Yeah.
I've probably worked, I tell people anywhere from 200 to 300, probably closer to 300 people in my life, in my career. And I've seen 3 people walk out of the hospital. Yeah. 3 people. And one of those was a 4-year-old girl who fell in a pool. Yeah. Which I tell people, if that's the only one that I saw survive, it'd be worth. Oh yeah. I hate saying that, but it'd be worth everything because the other ones, you know, a lot of them. I'm not talking about suicide. I'm talking about compressions on. Yeah. But it's amazing watching that and working together one and one. Unlike one what we just did not long ago, which we did work well together, but this guy was brand new on the streets police officer. Yeah. And this guy got shot. So there's not the police officer, but we're responding to a guy that got shot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we get there, and this guy is butt naked.
Oh, God,
He's butt naked. He's shot in the leg. There's blood everywhere. Ugh. And I walk in, and I'm like, holy crap! And this dude, he's eating it up. Like his first call. Like one of his first calls. He's at this dude's head, like doing compressions, and he's all in this blood. The blood's all over him. Like,
dude.
Like it's all on his pants. And I'm like,
you're pushing it out of him. Stop it.
And so like, God love him, man, because he was doing his best, man. He was doing his best, man. Like 4 years from now, he's gonna look back on that. I was like, oh, such an idiot. Yeah. But like, he's sitting there doing that, and then like the guy actually. He wasn't pulseless. He just was unconscious. Well, this guy couldn't get a pulse on him. So then the guy's doing compressions, and the guy goes like this, and he's still doing compressions. I'm like, bro, you don't have to do compressions no more. He just tried to wipe you off. But like I said, I love the guy. Like he did it. He's brand new, man. Wet behind the ears. That's what one of the guys told me. I was like, God dang, man. Yeah. And the sergeant that was there was like, oh man, that guy. He goes, this is literally his first shift. Yeah. And I'm like, what a G, dude.
Dude got in there.
I mean, heck, man. I mean, that's a way to learn, man.
Yeah. No, that's funny. Like one time that this wasn't really an issue, but like we had a shooting like a couple months ago. It was like the end of. It was like probably October of last year, I think, or something. A guy ended up getting shot. A guy that I was crazy. Funnily enough, when me and my buddy Centron were the first ones there. It's funny where this job is, dude. I was so hungry. I had just gotten a quesadilla from Barbaritos. Was about to destroy it in my car, and I literally looked at my cat. And I was like, well, that's not good.
That's how it happened.
The quesadilla in the passenger seat and sent it to where we were going. And look down, I get there, and I see the guy. He was laying in the road. And those calls, like especially just like when it's in a certain particular area, you don't know where you're going to be. But like those calls can be nerve-wracking just because you've got a lot of people around. If you're the first ones there, you've got to try to control the situation, keep it safe, all while rendering aid, and this and that and the other, which, y'all know too. But like, looked down at the guy, I knew exactly who he was, and he was one of those guys in the jail where I was not surprised at all that he was the one who had gotten shot. Never wished that on anybody, but like I said, I was just like, it didn't surprise me. I knew exactly who it was. But so I get my med kit out. It was a headshot, so it's not like there's not a whole lot you could even really do, if anything. To my knowledge, he's actually alive, which is crazy. From my understanding, what I was told, I believe the bullet traveled around his skull and actually lodged behind his eye, and it never actually impacted his brain. But where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so like we get there. It was actually an act of like self-defense. There was a male the guy who was on the ground, that was the patient or whatever, suspect patient, whatever. He was following this female around, saying a lot of just terrible things to her, threatening to kill her. And I believe he had a firearm in a backpack and was pointing it at her. It was like he had it concealed in the backpack. Obviously, people standing around making it not look like he had a firearm, but he did. It was like a 22. It was like an AR model, like AR, but it was a 22. So it wasn't a large caliber gun, but it looked like an AR. He was pointing it at her, like saying all types of crazy stuff, like threatening her to kill her and things like that. And a guy on the street we were on sees this going down, and is like, "That's not good." He's about to freaking shoot her. So he takes it upon himself to grab his, I guess, fiance or wife's purple like Taurus, and he went to work, and when we got there, he was still there. He had laid the firearm down by the guy he had just shot and stuff like that. And but what I was getting at, so like I said, a lot going on. EMS pulls up, and I don't know who it is. I don't imagine this person. I don't even know who this person is, but it's just like it's an active crime scene, all because obviously medical things that takes priority. I get that, but like that's the first priority. But like, I'm standing by when they get there. Like I'm having my kid out. By the time I get my med kit out, it really just put pressure on the back of his head. Like they get there, so I'm like I'm backing off, and they're starting to working on get the sliding the freaking thing under him to get him lifted up and all that. And he looks over at me and he goes, "Can we like get these guns out of here? Like, what's going on? Like, why are these guns just sitting?" I'm like, "Yeah, like it's gonna pop up and shoot you in the face, bro." Like, you know what I'm saying? So he was getting mad. Like they were just like there were firearms there, and I was like, I understand, but at the same time, I was like it's not that big a deal. But obviously, I'm like, in that moment, this is not. There are way bigger fish to fry than whether someone's gonna cry about a gun laying on the ground. So I was like, "Yeah, man," I said, "I got you, man. Sorry, I'll get him out of the way." Got him out of the way, secured him. Took a picture because like, that's one thing I've learned from people at Walton. I was like, if you can get there, like crap's gonna be hitting the fan when everybody gets there. So if you can kind of get an overarching picture of everything, just so that there's reference for what's going on, like do that. Mm-hmm. So that's what I did, and then but I had to secure them in my car and stuff. But like, it was just funny that they were got there and it was some kind of
but they're technically secured even though they're laying there.
Exactly, and it's like I said, it wasn't that big of a deal. Honestly, I was just kind of like. You could instead of yelling at me, just keep doing what you're doing. But I was like, I'm not in your shoes, I'm not gonna. But it was like,
PD's standing right there. Like I never, as long as But they tell us, if we're in command of a scene and we pull up and the house is on fire, if there's something that portrays arson, they ask us, hey, take a picture if you can, or take some kind of photos, like. Or if there's a gas can or something like that on the front porch, remove it, but tell us exactly where it was, that kind of stuff, So, they also tell us that if you can keep it there, keep it there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I get it, but some EMS guys are kind of...
Yeah, and like I said...
I love y'all, but y'all are a little strange.
Yeah, and like I said, I had obviously... The situation is tense. Everything's kind of chaotic. Everybody and their brothers showing up to help, things like that. So
was his name Clint?
I don't even know who it was.
It was Clint Rutledge. I think it was Clint Rutledge. Is Sunshine is what they call him?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
But no, like I said, for the most part, I've never. There's been times where we've been on the scenes and stuff, and like I said, if any of the Walton County Monroe people are watching this, I don't know if you do and whatever, but.
We're not that famous.
Yeah,
nobody listens.
I was, I don't know. First time
it's
being
all
here.
Scotty's folks down in Cherokee. They're the only ones.
Yeah.
No, there was some guy one time. There was a house fire. That's the only time
we got action.
Yeah. There was like some house fire in this corner. It was like this older house, and like a park. Obviously, like when you.
Oh, here we go.
You learn the hard way.
You better not
about blocking in, getting people blocked in the road. I think it says I was not blocking anybody in the road. That's where it was freaking stupid. Is because like there was where we were, there was like literally like a fire alarm call like a street over, and then everybody else was doing active shooter training at Monroe Area High School, like freaking I don't even know, like 5 miles, whatever, 3 miles away, something, I don't know. But they're all doing that, so there's like no like. Engines of it, like they're all over there training. There's nobody like they're doing that. But there was one, so we get dispatched to it. We're like we got out there. We're like, how are you already out here? Like we're usually the first ones here, like trying to make sure there's nobody in the house. Like it was like we literally had an alarm call right over the way, and like the house is starting to pick up everything like that. So like we were out there freaking hauling hose. I love doing that stuff, dude. When like we get out there, fire assist. Like I love fire assist because I love getting out there and helping everybody.
Oh man, I wish you worked where I work,
dude.
I'm just kidding.
Well, they so we got out there. Like so, there was one truck out there, and then me and like my buddy Gunner, we got out there. We were hauling hoses down the road like to get it hooked up, and then my buddy Kitchens, he was actually a firefighter. I forget where, but like he knew how to hook it up to the hydrant, so he just starts running it, and we were doing it with him. And it was cool. And then my car was parked like way down the road, off to the side, and then what I was getting at is. Like probably 10, 15 minutes later when basically the fire was out, like this one truck, like it was out. This guy walks up to my corporal and he was like, I just want you to know if y'all's cars are parked there again, we're just going to ram right through them. So y'all better. And I was like,
did you get this guy's name?
No.
Please tell me you got this guy's name. If you see him again, get his name and you call me. I would love to call him out on this show.
Bro. Well, like I said, he didn't say it to me,
nuts, man.
But like he just, like I said, like I was
ram him over.
He's like, I'm gonna, or whatever he said. He was like, we're just gonna plow or something like that. I was like, I mean, that's fine. I mean, okay. Like,
you should have responded with, "Well, then I'm going to arrest you because that's illegal.
That's interference with government property.
Sorry,
I don't know if you know that.
idiot."
But then on the flip
Come on,
side of
dude.
that, well, obviously they can't control. They're that far away. But like the dudes on this truck literally looked at me and Gunner, and they're like, "Dude, y'all just literally freaking like helped us so much." And they're like, "Thank y'all." And they're like, "We're also hiring, so y'all come by." And I'm like, "No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that." But like, it was just funny because like they were super thankful. Like it was fun, and I enjoy that stuff. But it was just funny because then they get there like, "Yo, you better not do that." And I'm like, "Bro, fire's out, bro. You don't even need to be here anymore."
You're just mad because you didn't get to go do anything.
Yeah.
And you probably wouldn't have anyway, because most people who talk like that, they're not the ones going in to fight fire. They're the ones that are like, "Oh yeah, I'm a fire god, but I'm not."
Dude, the place we were at, like,
Drives me nuts.
I was as feasibly out of the roadways I could be without, like, there was room to get through. I think when I saw him
So he's a
coming
bad
through,
driver.
Basically,
Yeah,
yeah.
remind me what his name is so I can tell him he's a bad
I
driver.
truly don't even know who it was. Like, I don't know. And the thing is, he said it to my corporal, and then my corporal was like, "Dude, you're never gonna guess what this dude just said." Like, it was just funny. But like, because when I saw him come around the corner, they had to take the turn a little wide, and I mean, it wasn't like wide. It was a little narrow, but like completely feasible to get the truck in there. Like, because we was the roads we were on. It was kind of in a certain area where we were. Like, it was narrow, but like it was able to be done fine. And I made sure of that because, like, I've learned my lesson the hard way. Where either I block a fire truck from getting in and get chewed out, or like I'm blocked in and have to stay there the whole time and can't leave.
So I've done that before.
Yeah.
We had this call one time. It came out as a house fire,
Yeah.
but what it really was a pretty big shed behind the house.
Yeah.
And people thought it was on fire. Well, what this did is it caught that the whole shed was freaking fully engulfed. Mm-hmm. But this guy he owned his own landscaping business, so he had mounds of dried grass.
Perfect.
That he had, and it was all on fire.
Nice.
And we're like, great, we don't like this stuff. Like, this is not what we like to do. And so, but I pull up, and it's hilarious because we pull up, and this cop drove to the end of the driveway, and he's in the driveway and he blocked us. Yeah. Like, and this is off the road, so it's not like a normal like neighborhood. Yeah. Like, it's kind of like off a side road or something.
Yeah.
We pull up in the driveway and he's in front of us, and we can't get far enough to where our front bumper can get to where the shed is.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, what the heck? So when we started pulling hose and everything, we hooked up to the hydrant. That guy had to stay for like 5 hours.
Yep,
because he was not getting over that 5-inch hose.
Yep.
And he came up to my chief, and he's like, "Hey, I really need to get back to work. Like, I mean, are you gonna undo that?" Like,
I'm like,
no.
"Dang, that's crazy."
I mean, no, we're not gonna like let the water out to let you out and then fill it back up.
Yeah.
It's just
I think
funny.
one of my first fires that I assisted on, like it was my first like couple weeks on shift on patrol, and it was like right at the end of shift, and I did that. So I was stuck there till like
The truth comes out.
it was like night shift, 10 a.m. That's how long our shift ends at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was over till like 10 a.m. because I couldn't get
That's overtime.
That's funny though. That's funny.
Yeah, there's only like I just guys in certain situations like that, like you just learn your lesson the hard way, but and you just kind of got to do it. And
What a jerk.
Yeah.
We'll just plow over you.
Oh,
okay.
I was like, I mean, okay. I was like,
All right.
go
Non-good driver, arrestee.
Well, the thing is, I don't even think he was a driver. He was wearing a white polo. So I don't know if he was like command guy or what. I don't know.
A white polo?
Yeah, he was like, because I think some of the command people wear like I said, like white polos.
Well, white polo usually means they're admin guy.
Yeah.
Like they're in an office. Like, is he not the chief of the county?
No.
I mean, the chief of the city? Because that's what that sounds like.
So what you're saying is the city's, they're going to pay for.
Well, how is he going to plow over anybody? He's not even driving in it.
Yeah.
If he's wearing a white shirt, he ain't
That's
driving no
true.
engine. I'm just going to plow over you with my go-kart. Yeah. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, get in your SUV that the city lets you drive for free and go back to the station.
Fire safety.
At least I know I'm not getting a job at Monroe anytime soon.
That's literally the only time that I've like legit had like any. And that wasn't even really. It wasn't even directed towards me. I was just told like kind of secondhand, but like it was just that was really funny. I was like,
It is
because I'm like that's important right now. There's a
Like-
house burning down. You're worried about that? Okay.
Yeah, honestly, it is a little frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had to ask PD to move their car before.
Oh yeah.
Being that majority of my me being in the fire service has been a driver.
Yeah.
So like, and let's see, 12 years in the service, I would say I've been driving for almost 10 of those years, 9.5 of those years, and 8 of those were on a truck.
Yeah.
So the truck's different, the truck has to have outriggers.
Yep.
And so if we don't have a clear street, we can't even, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Like we can't set the ladder up unless we get our outriggers up.
Yeah.
So there are some things, but I always, man, like you said, I always try to like think about like, all right, this is the situation. This is what it is. Instead of complaining about it or yelling at people, let's just fix it and we'll worry about it later.
Yeah.
Like we can talk about it later and then everybody can learn from it.
Yeah.
You have to lose to learn.
Yep.
So it is what it is. But
Yeah, absolutely.
I hate hearing that though.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
makes sense that he's a white shirt though.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we've gone down about 1 million rabbit trails,
Yeah.
but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's what we do
It's
here.
normal.
That's what we do here. We're going to move on to a health tip from Scotty.
Oh man.
But before we do,
Already?
Before we do, well, I mean, I think we're like 2 hours in,
Are we?
at least. I think we've got a couple of cameras dying. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, I already know that.
That's how you know
I've been
it's
watching
good.
your
That's
big
how you know
butt
it's
get
good
up and, like,
conversation right there.
I've been watching Jacob for the last 45 minutes. He gets up and shakes his head. He's like,
Yeah.
Changing cameras out.
and then he's like looking at this, looking at that, and he's like, his eyes go up in his head, and, and I'm like, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
what's
you
the law that's if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong? What's that?
Oh, I don't know, but
You know what I'm talking
I
about?
know what you're talking about.
That's every recording session for us.
Well, they're used to it right now. They'll see our flag in the background saying technical difficulties, at some point in the
But anyway, before we move on to the health tip, we've talked quite a bit this episode. I feel like about mental health issues and anxiety, and if you don't talk about those things, that can lead to a dark
Absolutely.
place.
Yeah.
And it's no secret that clearly that that's a big issue for first responders.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that we've talked about several times on here is that our channel, our podcast, Faithful Responders, we want to be advocates for mental health and promote awareness and try to provide resources. And one of the things that we kind of came across here was actually a program that one of the guys, Easley, old Rad, the Radster.
Conrad.
Shout out to Conrad. He actually, we were on shift together when I was on patrol. We were zone partners for a while, but he actually turned me on to the Valor Station in Augusta, and told me about what they're about and everything. And at the time, I didn't know it. I started following the Valor Station. You can find them on Facebook, but they actually were just an organization getting started, trying to raise funds to open up this facility in Augusta. And I thought they were already open at the time, but I didn't realize till recently that they're actually now to a point where they've raised enough funds to open their facility. So from the last thing I saw, that they were opening up in April, which will probably be when this episode releases. But anyway, so as you can see on the screen, Valor Station, Augusta, they're a mental health facility that was started for first responders by first responders, so they know what we're going through. So if you know anybody that needs help in this regard, check on your people, and if you know anybody that could use this help, refer them to the Valor Station and send them their way. You can also they have a phone number here on the screen as well as an email address if you want to contact them for just general information about the facility on how you can either get somebody there or get there yourself. But you can also use the QR code and make a donation. Keep their organization and their mission funded.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which we all need that. So, and even if you don't think you have a problem, it doesn't hurt to go talk to somebody.
That's right.
Dude, absolutely.
I mean, even if because sometimes we have problems and we don't want to, like, in our mind we don't admit to that.
Yeah.
We think we're okay. So
that's kind of like this, like the stigma about, I guess, first responders in general is like, oh well, I mean, I have to be this way because of like people are looking to me to be that guy.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a very large mistake. I feel like a lot of people struggle with it when they let on, just because I said that's like the mold. You feel like you might have to you have to look like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, on their little mission statement thing that they sent us, they actually say, I mean, it's not just like if you've been diagnosed with a mental health disorder or whatever. It's like it says specifically on there about it can either be trauma induced or trauma related symptoms.
Yeah.
Which
Sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, we all. If you're a first responder for any length of time, I mean, you've witnessed some trauma and experienced trauma.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's cool.
anyway,
All right, you ready to get healthy?
Scotty B, hit us with that health tip, boy. Hit us with that health. Hit us with that health. Hit us with that health. Hit us with that health tip, boy.
Oh man. So this is like a little thing we have. We all have our own little, like, I guess, segments. And like mine is a health tip.
Yeah.
So, and you look like a pretty healthy dude. So like,
I appreciate
you might get some from this.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'm sure.
So there's two things that I was thinking about recently, and one of them is because I'm coaching my daughter Kylie, and I'm coaching softball, and I see these coaches all the time, and it pains me. I told her the other day, it pains me when I see this. Is the kids get there, and they go out in the outfield and they start throwing, and I'm like, that bothers the crap out of me, because it's just like somebody, or they go out there and they start stretching, like static stretching. And I'm like, for kids, it doesn't really affect them as much because their muscles are limber and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But it's setting them up for future failure because they're never going to learn that that's wrong. Like, you should never static stretch. And what I mean by is just normal stretching. You should never do that unless you have run or jogged somewhere or done a jumping jack or a dynamic stretch of some sort, like whatever it is. You can look that stuff up. Dynamic means you're basically doing something where you're moving to get the blood flowing, because you can't stretch a cold muscle. Yeah. You can, but when you're an adult, you're going to pull that muscle. So the thing is that, and this is something that even in the military is done. Yeah. I mean, because it's so old school. It's like, fire and police. We have so many like things that we do that are like, that's just the way it's done. The other day I had a rookie. I'm inside, I'm eating breakfast. He's out there checking the truck off, and I hear my saw. I'm driving this truck. Mm-hmm. I hear my saw go, ring, yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, he freaking wound that thing up for at least 30 seconds. And I'm like, this kid, man. But that's how he was probably taught in rookie school, because that's how old school guys do it. That's how I was taught. Yeah. So until one day, a guy who actually owns a tree service, this is a long time ago, came up to me and goes, why are you doing that? That's how I was taught. And he goes, do you know what the manufacturer says? And I'm like, absolutely not. Why would I know that?
Sure don't.
Why would I know that?
Enlighten me.
Still, manufacturer says you're not supposed to do that. They said they want you to wind it up to about, you can go as high as it goes, but you wind it up to about 70 to 80, and then you just keep it there for a little bit, and then you just come back down. It's not this like wide open for freaking a minute. Like, that's not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing when you're talking about stretching, okay? You got these kids going out there, and yeah, like I said, they'll compensate, and they'll be able to take, because their muscles are young, stretchy, very like their joints are lubricated, all that stuff. But the older you get, the less you're like that.
Yep.
It's like taking a cold rubber band. When you stretch that rubber band, you can literally see, like, you know how the cuts in that rubber band. If you warm that rubber band up and you do that, you won't see that.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So like, you have to get your blood flowing and allow your muscles to warm up first. The kids, my high schoolers and the kids that I'm coaching in softball, they think I'm punishing them, you know, because they're like, why am I running? And it's like, it's not a matter of that, you know.
Yeah.
You got to warm your muscles up. And like I've told Megan, it's not for those kids generally, because they can take it. They'll be fine. But over time, they won't.
Right.
And the older they get, without knowing that knowledge, they're going to hurt themselves. I can't tell you how many people I see in the gym from ages 20 to 80, and they're in there, they'll walk in the gym, they get dressed, they walk over and they start stretching. Yeah. It's like, no, don't do that. Like, they're going to hurt yourself. Yeah. The other health tip is cold plunge, which is a big deal nowadays.
Dude, I've never done it, but I've heard that it's very, very beneficial.
It's actually not.
Is it really not?
Not beneficial.
It's not beneficial.
Oh.
In fact, science shows that the more athletic you are, the less beneficial it is.
Huh.
That's wild.
The person who's not athletic and doesn't really do much and is more sedentary, they get more benefit out of it than somebody who is.
Really?
Now, cooling your muscles down right after a workout is not a bad thing. It does, but it's very like, it's a very short spurt. It doesn't give you it doesn't really do much for you.
Yeah.
The other thing that it shows, like science will show, is that it's more what I really think it is more of, and what I read is it's more like therapeutic for people, but it's associated with health, because obviously if you inflame a muscle, you cool it down, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, the recovery portion of it is not what people say it is. It doesn't recover you faster like it professes it does. And like I said, I've watched several doctors, read several articles from personal trainers, like famous trainers, doctors who are trainers, and every one of them, even if Joe Rogan tells you to do it and Dana White says this works for them, I'm telling you, they're millionaires. One's a billionaire, I think. There's a reason why they're in the shape they're in. It's called other nutrients. And it's also, they got all those other things that, like, they can afford to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
But overall, it actually comes down to, and I was shocked by the fact that a lot of science and a lot of these articles and people said that it was more beneficial for somebody who is more sedentary, not as athletic or active. Yeah. It's more beneficial for them than it is for somebody who isn't. And what it does is it's a shock of the body. So that's also a good thing, but the process really doesn't have that great of effect on it. And there's just one guy, he's cool. I listened to a lot of his stuff. I can't remember his name. He's pretty vulgar, so I wouldn't say go check out his channel, but if you want to learn some stuff, check out his channel. But he's a doctor, but he's a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
So he has a YouTube channel. I've learned a lot from this guy, but I also double check him on things, but he always seems to be right. And he critiques all these famous trainers that train like Thor and these movie and actors and all these.
Yeah.
He will find how they post their training. He'll train it and he critiques it, and he'll go through the whole training and he'll say, that's BS. That doesn't matter. That's stupid. Or he'll say, no, that's actually okay. And then he'll go, oh, that's not bad. And then literally like 5 minutes later, he'll go, now you suck. Like, so, I mean, it's pretty knowledgeable, but he actually said that. I saw a nutritionist and dietitian who's very famous. She was on a podcast that said it. I've read several doctors, and it really shocked me. Because you think it would help. It would be very beneficial.
That's all I've heard is that it's like it's supposed to be like some miracle thing
That's
or whatever.
the thing I heard too. Yeah. But they based a lot of that to the brain. And therapy, not actual.
Yeah. Now, is this the are you talking about the actual plunge, like in the ice bath? Or
like ice baths.
Are you talking about the, because I've seen similar stuff about it's like the opposite of a sauna, like
the cryotherapy.
Is that the same thing? Or
I haven't researched cryotherapy.
Okay.
I've heard people talk very highly about that. And that would be a little bit different, I think. But I'm talking about just the cold plunges, because that's kind of like the popular thing right now.
Yeah.
But like all the things that I've read and certain science that I've read, they said it's more of a gimmick and maybe more therapeutic than actual like healing and helping and all that stuff. So
Yeah, there's some dude that there's like pops up on my social media feed sometimes. He's like day like 781 of doing a cold plunge every morning, and just like part of me with that, I'm like what is, but like, does he like get out, or is now he's there? He's like, what is this drastic change that he's experiencing? And if anything, you know,
I mean,
I don't know. I'm just like, that's a big commitment to do it every single day for like that long.
They say that, I mean, obviously, if you think of it like simply logically, like in a simple form, cold for inflammation, stress, that's good. But they actually say it really doesn't help that much. In fact, one of the studies I read said it actually hurts recovery because it's very instant. It's very quickly after.
Like rapid,
And it kind of like speeds up a process that should be slower.
I see that.
So there's some pretty good science on it. And a lot of them said if you're working out all the time, if you just take certain supplements because supplements are actually what they are, supplementation of, if you are more athletic than a normal state, you need to supplement something with not necessarily powders and stuff, but foods or in general. The powders help supplement what you're not going to get in foods if you don't eat enough of that food, or it's hard to find that food. So I thought that was really interesting, because there's been a huge crave. Avery, he does it at the fire station every day he's on shift. He does a cold plunge, and I started thinking about it, so I started researching a little bit, and I was like, "Whoa, because I have at the farm, I have like a big, huge plastic tub, that I was like, well, shoot, I might try that out. It sounds kind of fun, you know. And then I started researching it, and I was like, that sounds like a lot of work and money for nothing. Like
to get cold.
I'd have to buy a bunch of bags of ice and, like
wastewater.
Yeah, I'm like, I just don't think that this sounds like it's really worth it.
Oh,
so,
man.
But anyway, if you want to curse me out because you love cold plunges, that's cool. I'm just letting you know what I've read, and if you have any other debatable information on it from a reliable source, I'd love to hear it.
Cite the source in the comments.
Yeah. Oh, great. Here we go.
Interact with us, please.
Absolutely.
Please.
So that's all I got.
Awesome.
Nice. I'm enlightened. Truly.
Hey, but like I said, if it makes you, I tell people all the time, if you do something that doesn't hurt you and it makes you feel better, man, try it out. If it makes you feel better and it helps your mind and your state, I would say it's a lot easier just to read the Bible, but but yeah.
Awesome. Those are some good tips.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks, bro.
I think this is the first time you ever told me I had a good tip.
Hey, got to start somewhere, right?
Wow, well. Luckily, it didn't mean anything coming from
you. If only I could follow your tips.
Whatever, dude. I'm having a hard time following too right now.
Oh man,
I'm the hypocrite
we're each
right now.
4 Taco Bell tacos deep tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, hey, yeah, man. Come on, dude. You should have mentioned at the beginning of the show. Shit, I forgot.
Moderation is key, though. Moderation is key. I can't remember
Just
the
four.
last time
Just
I've eaten
four.
Taco
That's it.
Bell. So
I'll be honest. We had moderation of 4. I wanted to eat the whole pack, but
guy eats 4. Is how many are you gonna eat?
Yeah.
Because there's 6 left. How many did you have?
yeah, man. I'm ready for that wide open.
When's that supposed to open?
April.
April.
April 10th. I
Cool.
think is the day. Yeah, Megan's doing training up there. Like her boot camp training.
Nice.
Yeah, and
Sweet.
I mean, I'm going to start trying to go there in the mornings.
Nice.
It's it looks like a nice facility.
It is.
It looks really
It
cool.
is.
They talked about having an outdoor pool there too.
Really?
They got it indoor, but
the indoor, yeah.
They're saying that they're going to eventually build an outdoor as well.
The indoor. So the indoor one is actually accompanied by like a heat therapy pool. Did you know that?
That's cool.
That's pretty cool.
I wish it was outside because I really need to work on my tan. Screw the therapy.
I've got an outdoor pool. You can just come out of the house.
No.
No,
Then
I
we
don't
have-
want to do that.
Then we have to be friends.
we're not friends like that.
It's all facade.
I'll
Podcast
beat you to
facade.
it.
Make me feel good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh man.
All
Well,
right.
I mean, I personally say that it was a pleasure getting to listen to you.
Yeah, man.
And very encouraging. I'm glad that there's police officers on the street like that.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I've was raised by one of the most incredible people I think walked this planet.
Yeah.
And he was a police officer. They got a lot of crap while he was in the service.
Yeah.
And but I've also been beat up and really verbally and physically abused by police officers as well. So, you know, I get both sides of it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's hard for me to feel totally appreciative of certain police officers with the way they act
Absolutely.
because they make my dad look bad. And that pisses me off. That makes me mad.
Yeah.
Because my dad is a great man who loves everybody.
Yeah.
Never doesn't matter their creed, color, or whatever they are.
Yeah.
He loves them all, and he fought and gave risked his life, did everything he could for 35 years for the people in the city of Atlanta.
Yeah.
And there's some cops that just people look at my dad like he's a bum because of them.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating. So it's good to hear a good mentality, a good outlook, and a focus on a profession that gets a bad name a lot of times.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. It's just I don't ramble too long. It stinks that there are a few. I say I believe there are very many more good cops than there are bad ones.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I'm sure I know you'll believe that too. I can say that I know there's a lot of people who don't think that, and there's a lot of people who just despise us first responders, but cops largely. And I'm grateful that I'm able to be in this spot, because if I can be that one law enforcement officer that one cop that shows them that we're not all bad, I'm grateful for that. And it means a lot to me when there's situations where you can just tell people don't like us, and you get to be that light, or you get to be just that voice of encouragement, and they see that. And it just happens a lot where they're like, like, why are you different? Like, why do you act this way? And I tell them, and that opens up an opportunity to share Christ.
And it gives them hope.
Yeah, exactly. It makes them see us in a different light, despite what the media says and all of that. There are very many of us out there that want the best for our community, want best for people, and ultimately want them to experience Christ, however that looks. But yeah, I'm glad to be a part of this career, man. It's been good so far. So, but yeah, appreciate y'all having me here.
Yeah, dude. Well, one thing we like to do before we close each show is to take some prayer requests. So you got any prayer requests?
I mean, just continue prayer for just the anxiousness I've felt. Said there's an element of it that there's of the edge, like I've said throughout kind of us talking, that is good, but just prayer that it will not consume my thoughts. Prayer that it will just not drive me into the ground, drive me into a deeper hole or anything just like that. But yeah, that's really just the forefront of right now. It's just the anxiousness, just feeling peace at all times. Yeah, it's for me.
My mom, we have the others, of course. You know, my friends have cancer.
Yeah.
Clint's, requests. We have all those. So all of our requests, I always make a list of it. So, and I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
We go over it. And that's why we tell people, if you have one, email it to us or send it to us.
For sure.
But my mom's friend, Peggy, she has some issues in her stomach that they don't really know exactly what it is yet, but she's going through a lot of pain and stuff. So for her, I think I don't know if I mentioned this last time because I just found out about it. I can't remember. But a buddy of mine from Cherokee also has cancer. He has thyroid cancer. But they think that if they take his thyroid out, they'll be able to manage it and get rid of it.
Gotcha.
So hopefully that's the case. We also, there's some things at work. Like I was telling you, I'm really encouraged by. And then there's some people who I'm praying for mentally. And there's some things in their life. Like I said, I don't want to mention names. And then one of the guys I work with, I don't really want to go into detail. A person that I know, I'm trying to think of this. They need prayer because they lost a child. So, so yeah.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, she had the baby at 30 weeks.
Wow.
So it's very sad, but there's also some very encouraging things happening at work, and I'm very thankful for that. And I also have a praise. Every morning I wake up and I tell the Lord, I'm thankful for breath. I'm thankful for this day, and I'm thankful for any opportunity that I get today. And there's been some opportunities come up, and the owner of my business that I work for, I feel like he's like frustrated with me half the time I see him, but I still love him like a brother. And I appreciate the opportunity he's given to me.
Yeah.
I appreciate the opportunity that Newton Fire has given to me. We all have praises. Every time we have a downward spiral or life is not going our way, I always tell people, look for that one praise. Yeah. There's always a praise somewhere. Yeah. Look for the one praise and just try to build on that, because one positive can actually turn everything into a positive outlook. So just a thought.
Yeah.
Amen.
You good?
Yeah. Yeah. My sister's she's having surgery coming up. She's had some issues with her. It's kind of been like an issue in her arm, but I think I hope I say this right, but I think it was a more severe case of like carpal tunnel. Mm-hmm. But it was like causing severe, like she had like a really bad knot or whatever, like in her arm. And I think it was so bad. I mean, like they thought legit like that it was like some type of like tumor or something. Yeah. But it was causing a ton of pain, and they thought like could be infected, could be whatever. So they ran a bunch of tests and everything, and thankfully, like I don't think anything came back as far as like it being infectious or having any type of like sickness or whatever attached to it, but it's just still very painful.
Yeah.
So she's actually having surgery on it in like a week, I think, from now. Yeah. So by the time this episode releases, she'll already have the surgery, but just so I guess pray for her recovery and everything. She's kind of anxious and nervous about it.
Absolutely.
But
that'll do it.
But yeah. Yeah, that's really the only other like extra one that I have to add. So
cool.
But anyway, everybody said their piece.
Yeah.
Thanks again for coming on, Alex.
Yeah, definitely, dude.
For real.
I'm glad we finally got you on here.
I know it's been a long time coming, but finally made it. And
Yeah.
anytime y'all need somebody on, don't hesitate because I would love to come talk.
Absolutely,
Just
brother.
Always,
Yeah, you're always
we always want to welcome back.
Yeah, absolutely. I love doing this stuff.
Yeah.
It'll talk. So
For sure. We'll get you on here with Murray.
that would be a blast. On Murray and get Mouton in here, all that.
We don't care about
Yeah. Yeah. I was about to say, wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, it's just a small world, man. It's literally like meeting him, and then now there's a podcast that he's doing, and it's just funny, man. Like just small world. I think
It's crazy to think he would do something like that.
Yeah, I know. A little raging Cajun right there.
Yeah. A coolio.
Definitely thought he would have stayed on the audio side of things, not come over to video.
Oh gosh, that's probably why he made it to a couple of them. Man, I wouldn't want to be on video either if I looked like that dude. I love you. You're good, man. But
Would say it's easier to take his shots when he's not here, but I think we could take our shots when he is here too.
nah, it's way more fun when he's here. It's way more fun.
You get to see his reaction.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Just don't forget to hit them likes,
Absolutely.
subscribe to the channel, share this with a friend.
Like, comment, subscribe.
There you go.
Yeah, buddy.
Look, you can come back anytime.
I
dude.
know,
You don't-
man. Dang.
He's
Now you
on
gonna
it.
take
He
your
is
job.
on it.
Ask for sponsorships. We got dang Celsius in here. We got golly.
All right, y'all. Well, we're gonna get out of here. We love you guys. Stay
you.
safe.
Y'all.
Peace.
Peace.